What a time to look at chat. I not only don't care about it, I consider fashion focus to be a frivolity that is nearly as bad for society as civility politics. Probably the worst thing Vosh indulges in that he allows his community to know about. Damn, that's a Reddit-ass take. Goodbye. What an insane thing to say. Genuinely, like, psychotic, you know? One thing that I've realized in the like caring about clothing saga is that a lot of the guys who have like lay into intellectual positions on how it's bad are just like sexist because they would never say that about something like architecture or another art form that isn't stereotypically feminine. You know what I mean? We consider fashion to be like frivolous and feminine, so we have different attitudes toward it than, but yeah, like, or like video games or whatever, you know, you talk about like video game design and people are like, oh yeah, of course, we want the best video games possible. And then you talk about color gaps and it's like, why would you care about this? It's like, dude, don't project your insecurities onto me. My God, man. I'm glad I got into it just because some people are really, really weird about it. I think it's a bit different because the line between consumerism and art appreciation is blurred with fashion. Dude, it's blurred with everything. That's exactly what I mean. That's the assumption of frivolity. You think that consumerism isn't blended into other forms of like art and expression that you can purchase? That's ridiculous, man. It's blended into everything. You know? More so with fashion? I disagree. You only think that because of like Gucci or Versace. 99% of people are just out there like buying regular clothes, you know? Bitches be shopping. Bitches do be shopping. And God, architecture? I'm thinking about fast fashion as much as luxury brands. So it's literally like capitalism living in a society then. Hold on, Vermin. You distracted me before stream. You're not distracting me after stream, too. Taking pictures of Ruben. Oh, wait, these are the pictures of Ruben. Okay, that's a fair argument. Here, hold on. These are some very evil-looking photos, I have to say. Evil Ruben. Yeah. Eating the drawstring from a Buck Mason bag. Ooh. Look at how evil he looks. Yeah. What could they be plotting? I'll tell you what he's plotting. He's plotting to meow really loud when I'm trying to get to sleep. That's what he's plotting. Can you give your thoughts on Tim Walz' vat of chili? They're inventing new states. New states to win. Is that chili? Yes. Looks good. He put one whole tablespoon of chili powder in there. Maybe not even that. I'm going to beat the same drum, Bosch. I'm going to beat the same drum. Vosh debate is bad from the right, but the left engaging in it helps pull the uncommitted non-ideologues. Why do man? It's not an argument, man. If I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. That's it. You can do it if you want. But I'm talking about debating with Trump supporters. So in a lot of cases, no, like you're not pulling in the uncommitted or non-ideologues. I think that if you're going to engage in rhetoric to pull people over, I think your time is much better spent talking to like independents or moderates or centrists or uncommitted people or undecided people or whatever else, then your time would be spent like arguing with like, I don't know, fucking MAGA lover 1488 who will tell you enthusiastically about how they're going to deport 20 million immigrants, and every time you complain about it, they're going to add 1 million more. Like, I don't think you're getting much from that conversation. Are you aware of the whole TikTok debate culture? It's not real debate. I'm surprised you're not. Why would you ask me if I'm aware of it and then say you're surprised that I'm not aware of it? Why would you ask if you've already assumed that I'm not aware of it? Will you go back on Hippy Dippy? Do we have to do this like every stream? You guys are like, it's genuinely kind of pathetic. It's like the same question 500 times. I don't understand. Are you committed to living forever in the past? Do you want to go over to like McDonald's and ask why they don't have a real dollar menu anymore and just whine about it forever? Like the future is now. We're closer now, all of us, to death than we were when I last did a Hippy Dippy. We're never going back. You can never return to the past, okay? Live with it. Good Lord. Okay, but Dylan Burns a cool guy. Yes, he is. This is why we need a My Opinion on Everything Part 2. Yeah, we do need to finish that. We do need to finish that, that's for sure. That is for sure. Excuse me. Where's the part 1? Waiting for the part 2. You know that meme where it's the Doomer Wojak imagining the previous years as him being happy, and then it goes back to when those years happened, and he was still Doomer back then too, and it was just him idealizing the past? I feel like that's the debates with you guys. That's true, Dusty Poncho. Nostalgia feels like a pipeline to reactionary tendency. Nostalgia is an almost innately reactionary impulse. Um, okay, but the poor Nazi debate was objectively... How many years ago was that? I hope to God you guys never get an abusive relationship, because your perspective on, like, the aggregate value of your engagement with that person is going to be fucked. You're going to be like, remember 3 years ago when we shared that kiss over the bay? Yeah. And then you forget everything else. You people are... You make me sick. You're so weak. I wish your every joke wasn't reminding me my life is miserable. Your life would probably be better if you weren't so sensitive that any talk of time or relationships or life itself made you miserable. Like, that kind of seems like a, you know, not so much abrasiveness on my end, but sensitivity on yours, you know? I just think people in chat are too black and white. They've been associating their relationship with you to having to defend the concept of debate online and now feel betrayed. You know how some parasocial people are? Yeah, that's weird to me, you know? People do treat this like a brand and not me as a person individually. You know, it does get a little bit weird sometimes. Like when I say I don't want to, and then people in chat are like, okay, well, what about this? Do you hear yourselves? Like, genuine question. Do you have any idea how annoying you're being? It's not even like it's a sore subject. It would be like if I said anything else, right? Like, I don't enjoy this video game anymore, or you know, I've stopped doing this thing, and it was just nonstop people being like, oh well, here's like 50 arguments for why you should, and it's bad that you don't, you're wrong if you don't, and remember all the times it was good. It's like, dude, I just liked your debate aesthetic, so losing that aesthetic takes some getting used to. It's not an aesthetic, it was a thing that you do. I act the same way now that I did then. The aesthetic of the channel is the same. The content is different. Why do you expect people not to push back? They come for a particular type of entertainment. You change. You're GS Patent 360. You're telling me that people are showing up every day to streams that have titles that don't include debate in them, and for years now they've been watching and donating, and they're just waiting for the thing that I've said for a long time now. I'm just not interested in doing anymore. Like, at what point is this a skill issue? At what point is it like you're stuck in the past? It sounded kind of, you know, weird from your end, you know? We already get nonstop debate between Vosh and chat every stream anyway. It is true. It's not like I've gotten any less argumentative. It never ends. It never ends. Maybe do some debate reviews. GS Patton, if you're not satisfied with the content of this channel, then it's okay. You don't need to be here. It's not even a salt thing. I just don't understand the social impulse that drives somebody to act that way. I've had live streamers who I enjoy, and if they're like, oh, I'm doing a different thing, I'm just like, okay, that's the thing that they're doing now. I have no idea what motivates people to behave this way. Genuinely, I don't. It's unfathomable to me. It comes across incredibly entitled. It's because to them, you're just an interactive reality TV show. Yeah, I suppose. I'm just happy you're happy. You gotta be happy. If you're not happy doing the content, you're not gonna do good content. Is this more extreme recently with all the new lefties getting pulled in from live streams? No, well, I think I've just been more vocal about not enjoying the debate stuff lately, which is kind of the end of the debate. If I don't enjoy it, I'm not going to do it. That's it. There's literally no argument anyone could make to dissuade me from that. Again, like, you wildly overestimate the influence your input has on what I enjoy doing if you think that's not the case. The thing that bothers me mostly is that a lot of people just don't seem to understand the arguments why, which I guess they don't need to, but I've repeated them like 50 times and it feels like it's not, I don't know, man. There's just people like the whole you've owned X and Y in a debate. You can't own somebody in a debate if they're so uninvested that there are no consequences to them being wrong or lying. I feel like you guys should have gotten this by now. Over time, I feel like I could go back and I could go over all of my debates and I could rate them by how genuinely invested the other person was, right? With people like Eddie Liger Smith or Jackson Hinkle being at like a 0, where they can just say anything and you can say anything and they can be wrong and it doesn't matter because you know, there's basically like there's no like mutual investment, right? Like they could be wrong about something and there's no consequence to it. To people who were very invested, like, I don't know, Mike from PA, I think of as somebody who cared, or like Hunter Avalone, but that was like way back early on. Do you have any idea how spiritually dampening it is to argue with somebody who you know doesn't care about the argument and doesn't take it seriously? Do you like you have to sympathize with that, right? Have you never been in a conversation with an insufferable family member where they're talking down to you and they're wrong, like empirically wrong? Like you could look it up on the phone, but it doesn't matter because they're just being snarky about it. You probably experienced like maybe a parent or something, or maybe like a coworker, right? Like are these fun to you? Are they satisfying to you? Do you ever feel like you've owned them in a debate when you walk out of that conversation? Like, well, I was correct. Okay. Did you get anything satisfying from being correct at the end of it? Did you like arrive at, was there like a synthesis to the back and forth? No, of course not. So why do you expect me to do it? Daily with my mother, I really plan on moving out. That does really suck. I'm sorry. Like, I feel like everyone should be able to sympathize with that feeling. It's not even like, oh, I don't like arguing with people who are stupid. It's specifically the, like, arrogant, uh, obviously doesn't care about whether they're telling the truth or whether they come across as insane. They just like the... Do you have any idea how many of these debates I've had where it's obvious the other person just likes the sub boost they're going to get from talking to me? Like, the last few debates I've done, that's just what they've said at the end. Eddie Liger Smith was like, oh, dude, bro, you know, doesn't matter. I'm blowing up from this. I'm blowing up from this, you know, after being a retard on the Ukraine war for an hour. Um, the conversation with the Papa Fascist guy, the fashion guy, where at the end he messaged me and he was like, yeah, I got what I wanted. I don't understand. So I guess I understand if people in chat disagree with my assessment. I don't understand how you can not understand my assessment, if that makes any sense. Like, if what I've just described doesn't make sense, I think you're socially ill. You know what I mean? Like, I think that you're lacking an empathetic quality if you can't understand why this is an undesirable pastime, you know? It's not even fun. You're just idealizing an era of debates where people didn't act like that. It's not fun. Chad still thinks it's 2015. We're getting owned in a debate would hurt you. Nobody gets owned anymore. That's not a real thing. No, because in order to get owned, there has to be a moment where they recoil and they're like, oh, I've been proven incorrect on this point. Ah, and you see them like struggle a little bit or they get flustered. That can't happen if they don't care, you know? I mean, again, if you want to start a channel to do them, that's fine. I just don't understand people who don't understand my perspective on it, you know? And keep in mind, all of this is reflective of the intellectual weakness of the people that I would have been debating anything. I'm saying that they are either too stupid or too openly dishonest to even be fun to talk to. It's not exactly like a concession to their superior logical skills or anything like that, you know? I think that if anything, identifying when people are acting like this is actually a really effective rhetorical and social skill in and of itself. Is there any point in continuing to argue with someone who obviously doesn't care? No, they just enjoy frustrating you because they like seeing you bluster along and, you know, try to make good points when they keep confronting you with like bad faith bullshit that you have to go like, oh shit, they just said 17 wrong things. Now I have to debunk every one, and they don't care. They can say whatever they want. It's not fun for you. They enjoy it because they like frustrating you. They think it's funny that you care as much as you do, you know? Like Sartre said, right? The anti-Semite likes to play with words, for he knows that you are bound by them. What's the Sartre anti-Semite quote again? I literally just gave you enough of it to Google it, if you want to. It's the joke about playing chess with a pigeon. Yeah. And sometimes people in chat are like, yo, that pigeon, I bet you could own him in chess. How? 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 I don't think there's a chess master in the world who can beat a pigeon in chess. I think the modern version of the debate arc would be friendly conversations with people on our side who are undecided that we can walk through coming to decisions. Yeah, that shit's lame as fuck. The kind of people who, I don't think people realize, because I still get emails like this, but if you ever email me asking for like a good faith debate, I that shit goes in the fucking trash folder faster than I can click. It's crazy. Anyone who would specifically say good faith debate, I know is not worth talking to, for reasons that if you can intuit, then you know. But if you can't intuit right now, then I don't care to explain to you. No, no, no. It's not bad. No, you're misunderstanding. It's not bad because they're incorrect. It's bad because they probably are correct. What about the people who message wanting to come on stream, just ask you a bunch of questions on a topic? Horrible vibes. They can ask from chat. Also, like, what? I just bring some... Respectfully, I'm going to lay into you guys a little bit, but you deserve it, and it's true. Uncharismatic person with no media training to bluster out a few questions in between, like, parasocially thanking me for all I've done for them. I appreciate it. But, you know, at the same time, we're running a stream here, and sometimes you guys put me in really awkward social positions. You know, I don't know which one of you motherfuckers is going to, like, trauma dump about how I helped, you know, you're going through a really rough time and I help you through such. It's you know, it's like there's a reason I try to keep the stream with a consistent, like, tone, you know? It's difficult to run this stuff, you know? It really is. I did a lot of call-in streams when I was small. Now I can't because every motherfucker who jumps to the front of the queue is, like, just trying to spend time with me. It's also not really entertaining for other people. Vosh, I have family members that I don't need to distance myself from. If you won't do debates, would it be interesting giving points that can at least stick with the people in the Trump cult, like strong arguments for them? Ario99, I've been doing that the entire channel. If you want me to do content where I provide counter arguments to right-wing talking points, that's maybe the #1 thing that I do, right? I mean, we're certainly not lacking in that type of content. There are literally whole videos about that. There's a whole channel about it. Actually, there's multiple channels about it because I have 3 channels. And the clip channels? 3? Vosh, the Vosh Pit, and Vosh Video, which is where the game VODs go. Where Tempest, hello, welcome to chat. Where's the rest of the Outer Wilds VODs, Tempest? Tempest, where's the rest of the Outer Wilds VODs, Tempest? Yeah, well, tone has to be adjusted, DCL Zexen. You know, I'm talking to a live stream audience of people who mostly agree with me, so. It's Vosh vibes, isn't it? Hasn't it been changed to Vosh Video? Like a while ago? Or did it not get changed to Vosh Video? It has been changed? Okay, they're operating on old information. It's been video, yeah. Lol, he doesn't know? Listen, I have editors for a reason, okay? Anyway, you know, I don't it's not about, you know, like engendering an atmosphere of negativity in the content or anything like that. You know, I just there are reasons to it all. Trust the plan. Trust the plan. Your messaging discipline has definitely increased the past 2 years. Well, I get upset with chat less often. I've gotten angry at chat much less often now that I'm sterner with chat. It makes me, I'm in a much better mood when I stream now. Ever since coming back from Barcelona, you know? I'm telling you, I was standing under the Sagrada Familia, and I was thinking, man, I can't believe I let autistic 17-year-olds bully me from chat. That's going to change. And since then, it's all been uphill, baby. Channel's been up. You know, the mood's been up. It's been great. Got a beautiful partner, whomst I love. I'm hungover today, by the way, so if I'm a little lagging, like, cognitively, I had a whole, you're not going to believe this, 1.5 drinks. which is, if you don't drink enough water, for me, more than enough to guarantee you. I had a weird hungover dream, too. I was like, there was a very specific kind of stress to the dream where it was, I was vacationing in like, it was like an Airbnb, and I was there with my family and a bunch of friends, but none of the friends were people I knew. They were all people I didn't know. But in the dream, I was friends with them. So I had this simultaneous unease of being totally unfamiliar with these people and of having to be civil and good to them because I was expected to be their friend. You know what I mean? So I was just kind of like navigating the house in the morning, like, let's all get ready to do something, you know. It's very weird. It was chat. No, no, no. The people, the friends that I didn't know were hot. Anyway, I was like, I was just trying to navigate like the morning dynamic. And you know how stressful it is to get ready, like when you're on vacation, like 7 a.m. or whatever, and you're like, fuck, I don't have the right shampoo. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like intimidating hot, or I don't get intimidated by hot people. That's a skill issue. If anything, I might get intimidated by very funny people. That's different. But hot? No. Were they funny? The people in the dream? No, I was funny. Are you intimidated by smarter people than you? One of the really nice things about being a competent public speaker is that I can be a dumbass and nobody will ever know, you know? Your brain's locked up in here, motherfucker. You can't share thoughts directly. It's all filtered through communication skills, which I have. So I can be interacting with someone who's probably up here a lot smarter than me, and it doesn't matter. It's fantastic. It's great. Um, yeah, intelligence doesn't actually mean much when it comes to communication skills. I really don't think so. It's you know, you always have to work on communication skills. The biggest cope in the universe is smart people who think that their intelligence will shine through even if they're not good at talking to other people. Fuck that, okay? You're only as smart as you can convince other people that you are. Like, you're only as smart as the evident observable intelligence is. So you got to work on it. Unfortunately, big agree on this. I mean, it is. It is what it is, what it is, you know? Meanwhile, confident dumbasses get ahead. Yeah, confidence means a lot, so be confident. Easy. Does that mean Jordan Peterson is smart because a lot of people believe he is? No, it means that Jordan Peterson was able to make a huge impact in the world, a largely negative one, because he had the confidence and the communication skills to deliver a dumbass message to a lot of people. So if you want to influence the world for the better with your big brains, you have to put some effort into the communication skills. That's a huge part of what the channel's about, you know? How do you improve your communication skills? Practice. Also, watch more of my channel. Also, you're a white name. Donate. Does that mean heavier Malay is super smart? It means you're stupid because you're not understanding what I'm saying. League of Legends Zoc. Okay, I can see where most of your cognitive capacity is going to. You shouldn't play forever games. They're not good for you. Ignore that new Valve game, the like hero MOBA. Ignore that shit, okay? Only play video games that have a definite ending. All right? Don't get roped in on forever games just because they look smart. Factorio doesn't count, okay? I'm talking we're playing games where you reach the end and that's it. You can't play them again, all right? Break free. Is Helldivers 2 a forever game? Yes. I like Mill Sims, though. You're cooked. You're so cooked. Mill Sims are actually below, like, Hearts of Iron 4 players or Paradox game players on the hierarchy of how cooked you are mentally. Is Zelda Breath of the Wild a forever game? Blessedly no. Does this mean Stardew Valley is bad because you can play forever? Yes, never play it. Speaking of my excellent opinions on media, can I, before we get to the proper politics, I mean, I guess it's all proper politics. Um, Here, I want to share a half-cooked media opinion with you super quick. Have you guys seen the Twitter discourse about this? It's a gender bendy manga with the punk girl and the Lolita boy. That's the boy and this is the girl. And the art is really cute, you know? And people were like, "Oh, but why aren't they lesbians? Why isn't it Yuri?" And it got me thinking, people wanting it to be Yuri or boring. I do think that Twitter lesbians are really annoying and should probably shut the fuck up just on account of them being annoying, not even because they're being problematic or whatever. That being said, I have to say, I've always thought it really weird because, like, okay, obviously there's a lot of pressure for women to come across as feminine. I'm not denying that at all. However, if you're a more butch or mask woman, there are a lot of people out there who are down for that, right? One of the most popular examples I can think of is Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road. And I mean, people loved Furiosa, right? Like, now obviously you have the right-wing culture war backlash where they're like, "Oh, Furiosa's woke because she doesn't have hair," or what. Like, okay, I'm not denying any of this, okay? I'm not saying that it's not like a thing. Here, I'm trying to get like a good shot of her. There we go, yeah. But like undeniably mask, no getting around it, so and so forth. Even has you know, now that I'm looking at the art, like actually pretty broad shoulders too, you know? I mean, I'm just saying the bit was committed to and I respect it. I think she's beautiful. You know, pin upon me the badge of the wokest man out there. Thank you. My taste is impeccable. So, aside from the broader cultural pushback, there are a lot of people who are into that, and God bless them. But if you are wearing a dress, you need to look exactly like a woman if you're not a woman. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of room for butch and masked women, but if you're dressing femme and you're a guy, God fucking forgive you if you have like stubble or don't look exactly like a woman. You know what I mean? Disagree, muscular people in dress are hot. Okay, let me dial this back a little bit because I don't want to insult you. I don't want to insult you. I do want to insult you, but I won't, okay? So let's try this again. In broader cultural discourse, okay, if you have a character who is a male and dresses femme, 99.99999% of the time, if they're meant to be taken seriously and sympathized with, they look exactly like a woman. Like to the point where this is the entire trap terminology, where it's like the idea of they look so much like a woman that you think they are, which again, I'm not recycling 2019 era trans discourse or whatever, you know, about how the term is problematic. I'm only saying that that's kind of where the archetype is from. You do not see shit like this, except the guy in the Lolita dress is broad-shouldered or has stubble or whatever, you know? And the thing is, you can be mask or butch as a woman relatively easily, but be looking like a woman as a guy, unless you're using estrogen. That's, you know, it's like the femboy death barrier of hitting 23 years old, where past a point you can't get away with just lasering your face every month, you know? I mean, you can take estrogen, but then it's like, okay, so you can only wear a dress if you take estrogen? Come on. Crazy makeup skills needed. Yeah, I'm just saying, I wonder if there's ever going to be a little bit more room in the direction. Maybe preface the take with that, because I genuinely thought your opinion was that people in dresses need to look like women. Lily Creme, that's kind of really stupid of you if you immediately thought that. I saw you question marking in chat 4 seconds after I gave my take. That was a very dumb and reductive immediate assumption on your part. That was a skill issue on you. I'm faultless. You know, I'll accept your apology in the mail. No, I don't know. It's like, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with femme guys or dressing up like, you know, in a cute dress or whatever. It's just always like the work you've got to put in to sell that. Because, folks, even in trans circles, if you've got stubble and you're wearing a dress, you get a lot of hate, and it's not fair. It's so much easier to be like a butch chick. You just have short hair and you look kind of tough, and you're in the archetype, and there are people who are there for that, but man, it's the expectation that you have to be flawless. I guess it's kind of furthered by the fact that in anime, everyone looks like a girl anyway. Wait, what did they say? What did the League of Legends player say? I called that one. I mean, I get it. Some people try so hard to look passing as possible, so they get upsetty when someone has a different thing. Well, I'm, yeah. There were a pro melee guy that's made like 25 accounts by now. Well, that kind of fits, right? If whether you're a melee supporter or not, if you live in Argentina, statistically speaking, you don't have a job because of melee. So, like, what else are they gonna do? You know? Like, all right, okay. So what you're saying is men are discriminated against? I mean, I guess I'm more talking about assigned male at birth people than men because this hits trans women too, but in this specific regard, yeah? I mean, there's a reason why women can dress in basically all men's clothing and get away with it and be fine and no one really cares. Nowadays, I mean, nowadays women dress in pants, jeans, suits, whatever, and they're fine. But you really don't see a lot of like masculine guys walking around in dresses or tube tops or skirts. You know, there's a very different standard about the permissibility of leaning one way or the other, right? Where men's clothing becomes the practical default and women's clothing is purely ornamental and feminine. It actually, I mean, it traces back to like where the origins of the clothing come from, because a lot of men's clothing is like workwear or military derived. So it's like the practical clothing, the everyman's clothing, the clothing that's comfortable, the clothing that's easy, the clothing that's, you know, durable. And then a lot of women's clothing throughout history is just, how do we make this shit look ornamental as fuck, you know? How do we make this frilly as shit, because women are meant to be pretty and that's like the main thing they're meant to do. So there's like a kind of gate-kept nature to feminine presentation, you know? You know what I'm talking about. Will the Korean gender war be covered today? If you keep bringing it up, then no. Sounds like misogyny. Well, yeah, it derives from that. You know, it's kind of complicated, man. People love to do the male versus female gender war shit, but basically anything that negatively affects women has to, in some way, negatively affect men. It's not like a purely, it's not like a zero-sum game where there's like a extractive resource called happiness that one side mines from the other to take for their own or whatever. You know, the standards that, yeah, it's just basic intersectionality, which people forget. Nobody likes intersectionality when it means that they have to be slightly more nuanced about gender takes, you know, because then that gets in the way of the man hate. I said it! I said it! I said it. There's a lot of so-called intersectional people out there that forget all about it when it comes to being reductive about men. Now, in fairness, a lot of men are terrible, and I acknowledge this, okay? You know, we don't need to ignore that real fact, that real and true, PolitiFact verified fact, to make our points here. I'm just saying it's complicated, you know? But you're one of the good ones, we understand. I didn't say I was one of the good ones. Don't put me in that Reddit box. Don't have me out here at the lefty convention. Oh, men are terrible, haha, except for me. Oh, I apologize. Men are horrible. I'm so sorry to have to share a gender with them. Yeah, get that Reddit shit out of here. Red flag to people with senses, by the way. Thinking about fruity masculine for the time 80s menswear. Um, I mean, they weren't really considered as fruity back then. This is a little bit more over the top than you would probably see from the average guy, but at the very least, the average short inseam has definitely gone down. Everyone's insecure about their thighs now, so shorts all end like right above the knee, which is crazy. This is so hot. Um, I mean, it shows confidence. That's cool. Usually gay men, though. This? In the 80s? No, no. In the 80s, it was more common. Short inseams were a lot shorter than they are now, you know? Are people insecure about their thighs? Well, I guess I should say men tend not to show off their thighs, you know? Also, people are a lot fatter now than they used to be, and whether or not you think that's good or bad or whatever, a lot of people are less confident about showing off their belly and thighs when they're fat, especially when they're guys. It's a lot of it's a fat distribution thing because when we fetishize fat people in media, like, you know, fat bitches or whatever, it's always the big thighs and ass, but a lot of guys just get fat in their gut. You know what I mean? And that's not anywhere near as there's a reason why you'll see a lot of fetish art of fat chicks with big thighs and ass and what have you, or like big tits. And then when you see fetish art of big guys, they're all really muscular bara types, where they're so muscular that the fat is like a layer on top, but the underlying strength of the body is evident. You don't really see fat guy fetish art where they're just like not muscular and they have a big gut. That's not really fetishized as much, you know, which is kind of unfair. And I would say that actually is like a kind of, you know, that's definitely a double standard to men, you know, sexual desirability, blah, blah, blah. We've been there before. We don't need to repeat the classics, but it's unfortunate. Short men are also rarely fetishized. Yeah, unless they're in like a Twinkie subby little mouse boy kind of dynamic. Yeah, yeah, it's rarer, you know, mask short guys. I do see art like that, but it's not that common. I don't want to attack you. When I say you don't see art like that or something like, I don't mean it literally doesn't exist. I mean it's just not anywhere near as common. Guys have to be skinny to be hot. No, I disagree with that. I think that in a lot of cases, guys have to be built to be hot in most archetypes that people celebrate of men, you know? Not like ripped. It's not the abs, right? It's just like there has to, you know, your fat distribution gets shifted around a lot when you work out, right? This is the case for males and females. If you have saggy tits and you're a chick, having a developed pectoral plate can actually help quite a bit because essentially the fat of your tits is hanging off of the muscle plate, right? So if you have a firmer muscle plate, you kind of like shape that up a little bit, you know? A little bit, not like a crazy amount, you know? Um, I get away with being overweight largely because I have a really big frame, so a lot of it just settles in a way that doesn't disrupt the broad shoulders and rib cage, you know? Like I have broad shoulders. I don't work out, you know? Like I haven't exercised in ages. It's just bone. But because I have a big frame, a lot of the fat just bloop, you know, it just settles out in a way that's complies to or conforms to the aesthetic standard. Oh, for sure, Miss Genderlin. Yeah, I'm not making normative statements here. I'm only like describing what people tend to lean into or what people prefer. Vosh fitness era incoming. It's been coming for a long time. You know, it's something that it's something that I need to work on for sure. Mostly because it'd be a lot easier for me to wear high waisted pants if I lost some weight. Oh, any compliments for the shirt, by the way? It's just a nice, mildly cropped. I love the collar. It has such a strong collar. I really like it when a shirt has like a bit of rumpling right here because the collar's strong enough that it holds shape while around the, you know, just a little basic, nothing ostentatious. Nothing ostentatious. The drip is 10 out of 10. Okay, you don't need to like suck my cock. The drip is not 10 out of 10. I'm wearing a heavyweight t-shirt and cotton shorts. You know, like let's not let's dial it back a little bit. I know what I am, okay? I think I'm basically done getting basics. I think that if I'm getting any more shirts, they have to be a little more statement piecey. The shoulder seam is strangely crisp. It does have a nice sharp angle to it. I like that. We need prints. It's really difficult to find high quality. Man, even stuff like this, it's really difficult to find these days. To find shorts with this inseam. Right here, okay, you see how this shirt kind of like curls up at this edge? Do you see how there's a curl up right here? That's because this shirt, unlike a lot of modern shirts, is pure cotton. He cut it himself. It gets this really, like, in my opinion, pleasant, classic little up curl that is, you know, that is a product of its make. And oftentimes nowadays shirts, they have like the polyester blend or blah, blah, blah. My wife cuts crops like that and they curl modern shirts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, as long as it's made of cotton, it has to be good, solid collar, you know. The green shorts are just average running shorts nowadays. Well, my main issue with getting tight shorts, which I would love to get tight shorts, okay? It's that, and I've said this before, and they hate me for saying it, but I'm not going to stop saying it because it's true and it's a real issue that I struggle with, okay? My dick is just too far forward. All right? It's not that my dick is big. It is, but that's not why. It's because as a consequence of the unique arrangement of my anatomy, where my balls are a little more up, so my dick points more forward, if I wear anything that has like a tight, you know, a tight seam around the crotch area, it's just way too prominent, you know? Like, look at this shit right here. It's Queen of the Tuck. Look at this person on the right over here. I wish... You have any idea how uncomfortable it is to be wearing something where that shit be banging? I'm trying to, like, walk around. Just wear tight underwear. I do need to get tight. Well, I need to get new underwear because, unfortunately, MeUndies lower the quality of their new underwear. I have older pairs of MeUndies, like old, like 5 years old or whatever, that I haven't thrown out because, you know, I just have them like stuffed in the back. I don't like wear them, right? But it feels good. And I got some new pairs recently and they pill. The pilling is crazy. I got like burgundy trunks from them and I got little red cotton fluff balls all over all the clothing that I washed with them. I couldn't believe it. They were everywhere. So they like massively lower the quality. Pilling, what's pilling? When you get the like little prills, little like dots of fabric that come off of it, they roll off of it. The little linty bits, and they get everywhere. You need a pill shaver. I should not need to pill shave my underwear. It's not a little bit. It's like a lot. They definitely lower the quality. What causes the pilling from a material perspective? Weaker fibers, right? The threads that they use to weave the cotton can vary in length and thickness, and the longer lengths of the fibers are considered the higher quality ones. So you would want shorter fibers to induce like texture, but you still want it in a strong weave. Underwear has a weak weave because you want it to, you know, stretch. You're not building jeans here, right? So you want long fibers to give it a smooth, consistent, like comfortable texture. But if you have like really weak or broken up fibers, I'm guessing, I don't know the exact cause of the pilling there. It can be different things, but that would be my guess. Pilling is also caused by drying on too high a heat with synthetic fiber. Like, well, you should always like dry and wash on cold anyway, so. So now I have to find another fucking place to buy my underwear. Can you dry clothes on cold? Well, drying on cold just means like 30 degrees Celsius or like 85 Fahrenheit, 89, I don't know. Um yeah. Or you can air dry. Can we talk about politics now? This is politics. What about just drying outside? Yeah, you can air dry. You shouldn't need to air dry underwear though. That's insane, okay? You air dry things that are delicate that you don't want tumbling around or exposed to heat. But underwear is underwear. It's stretchy, it's light, it's loose. It should not be like that's crazy to me, you know? Like if your underwear is so delicate it can't be fucking tumble dried on cold, that's crazy, genuinely. What if you air dry everything? Well then fine, that's fine. My boyfriend used to really like Sheath. Have you tried them? Apparently they separate your dick and balls so that you don't get sweaty and chafed. Yeah, I've had underwear that has the like cup in the front. It's fine. It does feel like I'm wearing fetish gear a little bit, and it also makes the bulge problem worse. Yeah, air drying is almost always better than tumble drying. Genuinely, I struggle to think of anything that tumble drying does better than air drying apart from speed. And obviously it is much faster. I think that with certain clothes, tumble drying can get you like a nice kind of beat up like crinkle to it, right? Like if you're trying to soften it. Oh, speaking of softening, never use fabric softener. Literally never do. I mean it like never under any circumstances, okay? Ever. Never use it. It's literally just bad for your clothing. Why? Because it builds up on the clothing, and it if you're using it on absorbent materials like towels, it builds up in the fibers and eventually makes them non-absorbent, therefore destroying the use of the towel. If you're using it on regular clothes, it can still pile up and give it this like over time this like disgusting waxy sheet. It's literally just bad. If you want to make your clothes softer, use white vinegar. You can use, yeah, a white vinegar water solution that you can just dump on in there. Why does fabric softener even exist? Because they hate you and they want you dead. It annihilates your washer and dryer with buildup. Yep. Aren't dryer sheets toxic? Dryer sheets aren't good either. Do you have an article on that I can send to someone? Whimsical, you can literally Google, is fabric softener bad? Like it's not a secret or anything. It's well known. It's just something they do because they hate you and they want you to die. You also use too much detergent. Just use a dryer ball. Dryer balls are better than dryer sheets, yeah. Dryer sheets are fine. This is dumb. You don't need to artificially add smells to your clothing. There's no reason to, right? Like, you don't need to. If you want your clothing to not smell, wash them or use vinegar. It's for static, then use a dryer ball. A dryer ball doesn't have any chemicals in it. It's literally just like a ball. Use a dryer ball. Some dryer sheets add weird ass films to clothing. Yeah, because it pulls off the stuff. What's a dryer ball? It's you can just Google dryer ball. You can just Google. I don't know about that one, Vermin. All right, we've learned a lot today. Don't some people just use tennis balls as dryer balls? Those should work just fine. I imagine those would work just fine. I don't know why they wouldn't. I love fashion talk. Let's talk laundry all day. I recently found a YouTube channel that talks about dry cleaning, and they had a segment where they talk about clothes that are poorly designed, like designer clothes that are really poorly designed and anti-consumer. And some of the shit I saw there, man, that's crazy. If as if I needed more reason to hate like Gucci or Versace or Balenciaga or whatever. Jesus Christ. Like stuff where it can't be cleaned at all. What's it called? Not plug in the channel. Dude, I don't remember. Okay, hold on. Let me find it, and then we can do politics. Okay. See, now the delay is your fault. Um, is it this one?
Color cat.
Clean Freaks on YouTube. Clean Freaks on YouTube. Oh, wait, the channel name is called The Clean Club. Laundry Arc is comfy, not gonna lie. I get it.
So what's your take?
Whoa! Who linked me at TikTok? TikTok autoplay. My favorite feature of the website that I like very much. What is Tim Walls on about this time?
Take is the most neglected part of home ownership is the gutters. It's personal for me.
100% agree.
I've had problems with gutters before. You get your basement wet, you get ash dams, cause a lot of problems.
It's not good.
No, it is not, but there are fixes. Now, the other dangerous thing is that when you live in Minnesota, fall's a great time of year, a lot of leaves. You got to get up on a ladder.
And they get stuck in the gutter. The leaves get stuck in the gutter. I've seen many a man fall off the ladder.
Many a man, seriously.
Many a man fall off the ladder.
But there's a fix. You can put a gutter helmet over the top of it.
A gutter helmet?
It covers it. It lets the water go through, keeps it out of your house. I see this all the time.
How often do you like looking at gutters?
I look quite often, surprisingly, because
Like
I kind
you're
of judge it.
inspecting.
No, I try not to be judgmental on people, but when I see a well-tended gutter, it says a lot about somebody. So,
What's better, a well-tended lawn or a well-tended gutter?
I'd go with the gutters. I'd go with the gutters.
100%. There's no doubt in your mind.
No, I think gutters are a big thing, that they really matters.
Where do you buy gutters?
The downspouts I
was
bought at
thinking that,
Menards.
Bourbon.
Save big money at...
Menards. He's exactly right.
That's not how... That's not...
I know,
That's
you're right. I'm not good
You
at
gonna
that.
leave it hanging like that?
No, you're right. Okay, you ready?
On three.
Save big money at Menards. And keep your receipts, 11% rebates, but you got to send them in. It's a little bit of a challenge, but keep your receipts, you send it in. About 6 weeks later, you'll get your 11% back.
These are great takes. And you believe that cheese belongs on the
It's
inside.
incredible. He genuinely is like the most normal man. It's incredible. It's phenomenal. I don't think, has there ever been anyone like this in modern American politics? There have been people who look like it, but this much? This is the most normal man.
Side of the burger.
I know this is very controversial for folks, but
It's not controversial. I
Not
think
for where you
everyone
come from.
agrees.
You've been on Juicy Lucy.
Doesn't everyone agree?
I don't
have
think
a
they
song
do.
called Juicy Lucy, by the way. You can play it at your rally.
That's
You
nice.
do?
Yeah. I'll send it to you right after this.
Why did I not know that?
It's a deep cut.
It's a,
Just like the burger itself. They're delicious.
I do believe it should be inside.
It's like a hot chocolate molten lava cake, except beef and cheese.
He knows his Minnesota.
Yeah.
He knows his Minnesota well.
That's great, man. God, he's cool. A lot of veterans feel that way. Hey, speaking of veterans, so, okay, I'm not up to date on this lore. Can somebody explain? So, Donald Trump wanted to do... Okay, so let me see if I have this correct. Donald Trump wanted to do an unlawful photo op at Arlington National Cemetery and then accuse Kamala Harris of not being present there. The ceremony, it was a wreath-laying ceremony to mark the anniversary of the 13 dudes who got murked in Kabul when we pulled out of Afghanistan. And they wanted to be like, why didn't Kamala Harris show up? And they ended up getting in a fight with an attendant at Arlington. Do I have that correct? Please, I'm genuinely asking. This is what I have heard.
We're learning new details about an incident that turned physical at Arlington National Cemetery during Donald Trump's visit there on Monday. It happened while Trump was in Section 60, the burial site for recent U.S. casualties. Trump suggesting on Truth Social that the problem stemmed from his campaign's use of photography.
Yeah, my understanding is that at Arlington, you can't take photos. The only people who can take photos or videos are the Arlington Cemetery staff, and they do this to maintain an air of reverence. And, well, in Section 60, at least, there are parts of Arlington you can take photos at, like the Tomb of the National Guard, but in this area, you cannot.
Elena Treen has more on that from Washington. What happened here?
Right. Well, Sarah, so a lot of back and forth from both sides, the Arlington National Cemetery, but also the Trump campaign on what exactly did happen. But what we know is that some people who worked at the cemetery had blocked members of Donald Trump's team, members of his campaign, on Monday from attending and participating in some of the wreath ceremony when Donald Trump was laying some of the wreaths on Monday to honor the 13 fallen U.S. service members who were at Kabul's Abbey.
There's a federal law specifically barring campaigning in Arlington and other such hallowed ground. I don't think it's a general media ban. Is that true? Okay, I don't like this neutral title.
Arlington National Cemetery is the most hallowed burial ground for our nation's fallen.
I've heard about this.
Trump staffers got, quote, aggressive, both verbally and physically on Monday in a confrontation with an Arlington National Cemetery official. It happened after former President Trump and his aides arrived at the nation's largest military cemetery with a campaign photographer, even though the law prohibits any filming there for partisan, political, or fundraising purposes.
Yeah, my understanding is that the plan here was to use this as a talking point against Kamala Harris, because they were going to be like, why didn't you show up for a wreath-laying ceremony for the 13 people who died in Afghanistan, you know? The like fake ceremony that you're not legally allowed to do.
By Tuesday, Trump had posted a video of his visit, set to music, on TikTok, as campaign officials blamed the confrontation on a cemetery staffer who they said was, quote, clearly suffering from a mental health episode.
You know? It's a bold strategy. It's a bold strategy.
Defense officials insist it was the campaign aides who were unprofessional, and a report has been filed. Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, downplayed the incident.
The altercation at Arlington Cemetery is the media creating a story where I really don't think that there is one.
And he tried to make it about Vice President Harris.
Okay, I'm gonna be real here. I maintain my position that American voters are stupid hogs. This might actually anger a lot of veterans. Arlington National Cemetery is one of the few things in this country that we have real ceremony for. It's one of the few institutions that we've enshrined with the gravitas that like you would expect from, I don't know, like a British or French. Like America's mostly pretty casual. This is a very big deal. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
He wants to yell at Donald Trump because he showed up. She can go to hell.
Harris hasn't said anything about the controversy. She and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, are on a 2-day bus tour of Georgia.
I don't get why Trump seems to have such contempt for soldiers. Because Trump is literally like a 1980s businessman. He's literally a real estate mogul. If you're like too much of a kiss ass, you're beneath him. If you're a sucker who got like baited into the war that he was smart enough to skip out on by draft dodging, you're a sucker. That's it. That's it. Like imagine a cartoonishly evil 1980s businessman and how he would feel about people beneath him. And you get that, you know, he's incredibly self-centered. So the idea of somebody joining the military and risking their life for their country, again, I'm not saying I respect it, okay? But to him, the reason he doesn't respect it is not because he's, you know, a principled opponent to American imperialism, but because he thinks you're a sucker. This is like a confirmed, we know this. He said this. This is like a known element of his character. But he can't hold it back.
Polls show the race is suddenly neck and neck.
Sometimes you're going to win the game, sometimes you may not. But you know, you never let any circumstance.
Why hate specifically? Why not something else like pity? When has Trump ever felt pity for anything? That's not a megalomaniacal emotion. They don't feel that.
Knock you down or slow you down.
And he has a plan.
Oh.
The Harris campaign released a new ad today.
Okay, you're just saying shit, man. I want to hear more about this. This is like a big deal.
Tonight, the Trump campaign is defending the candidate's Monday visit to Arlington National Cemetery, now being criticized for politicizing America's war dead on hallowed ground.
What a horrible day it was.
The campaign on Tuesday posting this TikTok highlight video of Trump's trip, showing him laying a wreath in honor of the service members killed at Abbey Gate in Afghanistan and posing with family members among the gravestones. Several campaign staff posting their own content, too.
It's disrespectful. It's not Disney World. It's Arlington National Cemetery, and it should be respected as such.
The visit first drawing scrutiny after a reported altercation between campaign and cemetery staff over photography. photography. The Trump campaign saying a staffer, quote, decided to physically block members of President Trump's team during a very solemn ceremony. A cemetery spokesperson writing, federal law prohibits political campaign or election-related activities within
the thumbs up is especially crazy, genuinely. The fact that he chose that.
Let's shift gears here, and we've been talking about where many of America's war dead are buried, and he posed for photos. In the strangest of these pictures, the former president is smiling and giving a thumbs up by the grave of a Marine. It's an image of a man who has no idea how to behave around fallen heroes. The event was supposed to be respectful and private. According to a press pool note, the families of the troops had asked that there be no media coverage in the area where the service members were buried, but Trump seemed to have other ideas. It's hard to see Trump's visit as anything but a campaign stop intended to court the military vote. By now, Trump...
This has backfired, I think, more than maybe some of you guys think. The Army has put out a statement defending the cemetery official. The Army. The Army. You know? I mean, obviously, it's Arlington. It's not like a private cemetery. It's Arlington. The U.S. Army defended an Arlington National Cemetery employee who was pushed aside during a visit by former President Donald Trump, saying she acted professionally and was being unfairly attacked. Do you have any idea how badly you have to act to, like, get the military to officially comment on any kind of campaign proceeding? They're really not supposed to do that, but in this case, he kind of brought it on himself. The U.S. military is meant to be apolitical. Post on TikTok, impact on veteran voters. No way for a government official or political candidate to conduct themselves in sacred ground of Section 60 at Arlington, retired U.S. Navy Admiral James Stavridis said on Twitter. Wait, they had an altercation with a woman and claimed she was having a mental health episode? Yes, a worker at the cemetery came up to them and said that they could not do this, and she got pushed away, and then they claimed she was having a mental health episode. Which is wild. They're doing a lot to earn the condemnation of the military, I have to say.
Are you going to fire those generals, the woke generals at the top? Because you've been talking
yes,
about it.
I would get rid of them. Yeah, but see, now I know them. I didn't know them before. But I came in. What do I know? I was a New York real estate person. But no, I'd fire them. I would fire them. You can't have woke military.
The woke generals, yeah. How are they so bad about this? I mean, we'll see if it leads to anything. I mean, this is really smart of Trump. As a fascist, you don't want the military on your side. That's true. You know, there are a lot of ways that an insurrection from the right could potentially go down, and none of them work if the military doesn't allow them to do it, because the military has to allow you to do anything in this country. If the military doesn't want you doing something, you don't do it. It's that simple. That's how politics always works. That's how it always will work, you know? So I have to say, Trump consistently irritating the, everyone in the military from, who's been to West Point, everyone officer on up, is brilliant strategy. Fantastic strategizing. Literally poking the tiger. I mean, I just can't imagine a situation where if there's a constitutional crisis and the military is called in, National Guard or whatever, in some moment of truth, I just cannot imagine that the woke generals of the Pentagon would side with Trump. It's pretty crazy. Officers are basically learned professionals. Yeah. There's a big difference between, folks who have gone to West Point, your average military recruit.
Trump's use of the military as a prop for his own ends should surprise no one. To remind Americans how little he understands about service, sacrifice, and heroism. And Charlie, let's get you to expand upon that. We were ticking through earlier in the show the long list.
Breaking news.
Sorry.
The times where Donald Trump has indeed denigrated the service of others, including those who have given their lives for the country. And as you see it, he did it again this week.
Well, this is the great paradox of Donald Trump. You know, his own record of non-service is of course well documented, but so is this long record of denigrating the service of others and his contempt. And yet he continues to wrap himself as the champion of the military. And many veterans seem to think that he is an ally of the military. But you walk through, you look at this picture that you're showing right now.
This is such a crazy photo. I cannot get over it. It's incredible. It looks so trashy. Genuinely, that's what it looks like to me. It literally just looks like a sprawled out Southern family reunion. Thumbs up in front of a gravestone. It looks so bad. It looks so bad. Right after like shoving a lady who worked there. It's the same energy as Trump in front of the banquet of McDonald's. Literally, yeah. This is what he does. He just stands there and thumbs up, you know. There's not much engagement with the honor of the... And again, I'm not, doing the we need to honor our troops or veterans bullshit or whatever. I'm just saying that it's definitely politically expedient to pretend that you do. And he doesn't.
I mean, there's something deeply unnatural about this. Who posing with a thumbs up in front of the grave of a fallen soldier? Who does that? Somebody who, frankly, just does not understand what the sacrifice means. And you go back through whether it's the attack on John McCain for being a POW, or his suggestion at one point that he did not want disabled veterans to be in an Independence Day military parade because it would make him look bad, or his comments to his...
It's like when Nick Fuentes said when he did that, when he went, I think it was to the TPUSA event, if you're like ugly or fat or a retard, don't show up next to me, you'll make me look bad. It's literally that bit from the President of the United States. It's so fucking funny. It's so funny how fascists are just innately repulsed by any superficial signifier of weakness or degeneracy.
Former chief of staff, retired General John Kelly, when they went to Arlington in 2017, and they're standing next to John Kelly's son, Robert, who was a lieutenant who was killed in Afghanistan. And Donald Trump said to General Kelly, "I don't understand why they do this. What's in it for them?" Or when he refused to go to the military cemetery in France, calling them losers and suckers.
That's true. All right, this guy's just repeating the greats. I don't like it when people just repeat the greats. That's
This morning, the U.S. Army is rebuking the Trump campaign for inserting politics into a visit to Arlington National Cemetery and for an altercation with a cemetery employee. CNN Pentagon correspondent Oren Lieberman joins me live from the Pentagon. Oren, so what is the Army saying in this rare statement?
Manu, this is a fairly remarkable statement, both, as you point out, because of the rebuke of the Trump campaign, and then for standing up to the Arlington National Cemetery employee who was involved in this.
An official statement from the U.S. Army condemning the Trump campaign is just insane to me. I genuinely can't believe it reached this point. I genuinely cannot believe we've reached this point.
Statement doesn't mention the Trump campaign or former President Donald Trump explicitly, but it's also very clear to what it's referring.
Right, yeah.
Here's a part of this statement. Let me read this to you. Participants in the August 26th ceremony and subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws, Army regulations, and DoD policies which clearly prohibit political activities. An Arlington National Cemetery employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside. ANC is a national shrine to the honored dead of the armed forces, and its dedicated staff will continue to ensure public ceremonies are conducted with dignity and respect. In that statement, the Army basically says the visit as it was carried out in Section 60, which is where fallen service members from Iraq and Afghanistan are buried, was a violation of federal law. That law explicitly states memorial services and ceremonies at Army National Military Cemeteries will not include partisan political activities. That's where they say the visit violated federal law. But afterwards, a member of the Trump campaign also suggested the Arlington employee with which this altercation happened was, quote, a despicable individual, and someone even suggested that she might have mental health issues.
And that too, man. Like, why wouldn't you say, oh, we had a disagreement and there was some confusion? Or like, but like the reflexive, oh, the worker at Arlington was having a mental health episode and was evil. It's crazy. Absolute lunatics.
Here, the Army stood by their employee, praising her professionalism and saying it's an incredibly important and sacred job she has at Arlington National Cemetery. Once again, Manu, an incredible statement in this rebuke of the campaign and, of course, standing up for the employee involved in this.
Yeah, remarkable, rare. You don't see this very often. And Laura Lieberman,
or
thank
at
you
all.
for that from the Pentagon. My panel is now back to digest this. Laura, I mean, as we're saying here, the Army does not usually weigh in on issues like this, but decided to do so here, saying that the Trump campaign violated federal law and disputing what the Trump campaign said publicly about what happened here at this gravesite.
Yeah, the Trump campaign has tried to deny and say that this incident didn't happen the way that it was characterized, but whether it's Arlington.
Please, God, can you campaign on publicly arguing with the Army over this? I would love to see constant headlines on that. Rare, extremely base military moment. I will keep repeating this because I think it's important to repeat it. Never forget the fact, okay, that even if your average enlisted guy is, well, you know how they are. The brass at the Pentagon are not supporters of Trump's campaign, like, at all. And the reason for that is simple. It's because they're educated professionals. That's literally it. They're like neocons at most. They're rhinos at most. And a lot of them are neo-libs. Their primary political lean is towards the power and hegemony of the United States, which is not good, but it's a technocracy, you know? It's not like a fascist-leaning system, you know? It can be weaponized by fascists 100%, and it has been many times in this country and others. But the actual, you understand what I'm talking about, right? There's a technocratic, educated professionalism in the upper brass that is just not, you know, they're not all Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz types, you know? It's not a bunch of, like, partisan dumb fucks. At least it's not how they conduct themselves. Yeah. Either way, it's pretty wild. Pretty goddamn wild. Just off vibes, it feels like enlisted nowadays are equally as divided as general population. Actually, one of the articles that I just closed the tab of said that the enlisted goes about 63% leaning or identifying as Republican. I imagine this is mostly because most enlisted are men, you know? So it might well be that if you do the regressive analysis and you factor in the fact that the vast majority of enlisted or of veterans are men, they come out like just median. They come out just even, you know? Because men are obviously more Trump aligned because they're dumb. Men are emotional and stupid. Because they're dumb and gay. Well, no. I'm dumb and gay, okay? We need to separate, you know. Hold on. Hey. Guess what just came in? Something I've been meaning to up for a while now. New socks. You know, it's difficult to find high-quality socks. How do I open this? Oh. There are good quality socks where, well, if these are comfortable, I'll tell you. Foot size 13, which is, oh right, there's a seam. Oh, do you like my Disco Elysium sticker set? Where the hell is my... Really hoping these turn out to be comfortable. I haven't tried the socks from MeUndies. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, they're a little stiff. But I also just have a big foot. It's a Japanese company. I don't think they make feet this big in Japan. Break them in. They look kind of small for you. Yeah, but you can stretch out small socks. I mean, that's the nice thing about socks, right? They're pretty pliable. They look nice. We're going to break them in. They feel really sturdy, which makes sense because they're sport wear. But do they feel nice? They're pretty sturdy, they're pretty stiff, but I believe in this company. This is Lady White. I have one of their t-shirts. They're a Japanese essentials and sportwear brand, and they make really high quality stuff. Very respected. Very, very sturdy. You want sturdy socks. Oh my god, is this totally normal thing from Japan? How many times do we have to do this before Chad accepts that they just have better clothing production in Japan? They do. It's just true. What do you want from me? Classic weeb defense. Yeah. Nippon Steel folded 1,000 times. No, they don't. Yes, they do. We used to in the United States, and then in the early 2000s after NAFTA, we exported all of it. They used to make Levi jeans here. They used copper for the rivets and for the button. They used high-quality denim. Now everything's projectile looms from Mexico, Bangladesh, or Vietnam. It's true. But in Japan, they do fold the denim 1,000 times. Why more profitable? Yeah. What's wrong with an American sock? There's nothing wrong with American sock. Oh. But Vosh, are they like $5 for a 4-pack? No, these socks were $40. So, I hope they're good. I'm going to wear them in. $12-pack of Hanes socks will last you the same amount of time. Yeah, but it's lower quality. I could buy weed with that. That's the difference between you and me, motherfucker. I'm straight edge. I know where to spend my money. $40 socks that'll wear out eventually anyway. Yeah, and you're gonna die one day. Everything wears out eventually. Nobody appreciates the classics. Here, I'm going to take a piss, then we'll continue with real politics, okay? I promise. Chat does not understand it's okay to own cheap stuff. You don't have to defend Hanes. Yeah, they always act like I'm attacking them for not having $40 socks, you know? I'm not! I just want to try them. All right, are you all here to make fun of me some more? Where'd you get those Disco Elysium stickers? Anime Expo. Like, even some of the silk, really nice dress socks. Oh my god! Never occurred. Banana Republic makes nice clothes. Your cost per wear is probably still better than those silk costs since they're so sturdy. Just trying them out. Just trying them out. Do you have any tips for cheaper stores like Uniqlo and Brunson? What do you mean by tips? You go on in and you try stuff. Though with Brunson, I guess you have to order it and then return it if you want. Hey, Joke Book Rally. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, we should probably do politics. It's an easy day to get distracted when you're hungover. Have you checked out Darn Tough? I think I have. They're not really my style, though. These are hiking socks. I've got one pair of, like, smart wool hiking socks that were absolutely worth the $25 they cost because those things are, like, armor plating for my foot when I go hiking. But they're specific to hiking. Okay, these are actually pretty comfy. Nice. You like a nice tight crew sock, so it stays up your ankle. An interview. A co-ed interview.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed,
weirdly loud to
and
anyone
I've
else.
worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time.
Yeah, she's like amped up the
We
game.
did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed.
Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is expected.
Shut up. That audio was terrible. Also, that wasn't a very compelling interview clip. That's the first clip that CNN has released. Kamala Harris said if elected, she would appoint a Republican to serve in her cabinet. Yeah, that makes sense. Why? Because she's probably going to try to find like a rhino anti-Trump Republican as like a perceived unity ticket, but also a thumb in the, you know, like a neener, that kind of thing. Obviously, like it's dumb, but it makes sense that that would be that'd be like a hit. Mitt Romney incoming. That would be incredibly funny. Gonna find herself a Kinsinger? Yeah. Pretty boring opening clip, though, I have to say. It's odd that they're doing the interview together. I guess maybe it's also another thing that distinguishes them from Trump and Vance, because I don't think Trump and Vance could ever do a co-ed interview, because if they did, Trump would never let Vance talk, and if Vance did talk, Trump would, like, visibly recoil, you know? They did an interview together? Have I not seen it? Did they do the thing that I predicted they would do? With Jesse Waters? Oh, great. One month ago. Okay, that's why it's not in my recent memory.
Mistakes were made. They were monitoring this guy for an hour beforehand. Yeah. No one told you not.
Okay, right. This was right after accepting J.D. Vance. Okay, all right, my fault for not remembering. I do remember a clip with Vance sitting quietly in the background. Trump just doesn't like sharing the spotlight. He has never enjoyed doing that. You know he would run without a VP if he could get away with it. Oh, God, absolutely. Absolutely he would. 100%. You know they're just an inconvenience to him. Especially after fucking what happened with Mike Pence, you know? Trump to host the J6 Awards Gala at his Bedminster Golf Club. At what point does this become a crime? Like, how can we possibly pretend that we're a nation of laws when you can do stuff like this, man? Actually crazy. The what? The J6 Awards Gala. To honor and celebrate the rioters currently being prosecuted for their alleged violent assault in the U.S. Capitol building on Jan 6, 2021. The fundraiser, which starts at $1,500 a ticket, is intended to, quote, help cover costs and support the defendants and their families with exclusive benefits and recognition at the gala. The 20 defendants being specifically honored by the fundraiser are also a part of the January 6 prison choir, who last year put on a song called Justice for All, which features Trump, although he does not sing, if only. Imagine if Germany had a beer hall putsch gala. This is too fucking insane. Yeah. General admissions $1,500. Single VIP ticket is $2,500. Includes access to pre-event premium seating, open bar, photo ops with speaker lineup, J6ers, and hors d'oeuvres. $30,000 includes access to pre-event preferred seating, open bar, photo opportunities with speaker lineup. Wait, what's the difference? Oh, VIP table of 12. I'm stupid. This is the different one. VIP platinum table of 12. Seated with speaker, seated table, and J6 #1 music chart plaque. Access to open bar, photo opportunities with speaker lineup, J6 orders. Gotcha. Seems like a steal, you know? Even though they tried to stop it. I love the J6 choir because they're so stupid it's funny. I mean, it is funny. It's all funny. It's just like they want to kill us, you know? It's insane. I will never forgive the liberal establishment for designing and presiding over a system in which a fascist can attempt a violent coup of the country, fail, get in no trouble for it, attempt another one, and celebrate the first one. Certable Weimar moment. Yeah, 100%. What other one? The upcoming one. You think we're not getting a J6 too? You think we're missing that one out? No, 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 no. Trust me. Trust me. What was the other one? The upcoming one. I mean, if he wins, there won't be one. I mean, I would consider Project 2025 to effectively be a coup, even if he does win the election legitimately. But, you know. You know how it is. Iran's supreme leader opens door to negotiation with U.S. over Tehran's nuclear program. Interesting. Iran's supreme leader opened the door Tuesday to renewed negotiations with the United States over his country's rapidly advancing nuclear program, telling its civilian government there was, quote, no harm in engaging with its enemy. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's remarks set clear red lines for any talk taking place under the government of reformist President Masoud Pezeshkian? That's my best attempt. I don't want to be made fun of for it, okay? I'm feeling very fragile today. And renewed his warnings that Washington wasn't to be trusted. That's true. But his comments mirror those around the time of Iran's 2015 nuclear deal with world powers, which saw Tehran's nuclear program greatly curtailed in exchange for the lifting of economic sanctions. Yet it remains unclear just how much room Pezeshkian will have to maneuver, particularly as tensions remain high in the wider Middle East over the Israel-Hamas war and as the U.S. prepares for a presidential election in November. Why would they do this? Iran's doing well right now. They're enjoying a boost in popularity because Israel's making it easy for them. Economically, they're doing well because they've been engaging a lot with Russia, bypassing sanctions for, you know, weapon trades and what have you. What's the motivation here to open up talks? Are they afraid of, like, a full invasion if it gets pushed too far? They would do well in a full invasion. They think they'll get a good deal right now? Maybe. You know, actually, if you think about it in like a wheel and deal capacity, we keep Israel around as a wedge, mostly to prevent Iran from developing its nuclear program. Israel has done numerous attacks and, you know, Mossad spy bullshit to hamper Iran's nuclear program, but now it seems like that's no longer possible. Iran's nuclear program is rapidly advancing, and the facilities that they are using to advance it are buried so deep underground that they are arguably indestructible and can't be infiltrated. Like, we're talking about levels of security where it literally just might not be possible to stop them without a real invasion. And also, Israel is not a reliable ally to the United States right now. So maybe Iran recognizes, okay, the West right now is very afraid of us developing nuclear weapons because the two things that they were counting on, Israel being reliable and us having targetable programs, neither are the case anymore. So maybe they think this would be the best time to get a deal. Iran has further increased its stockpile of uranium enriched to near weapons grade levels. Oh, Iran will have a nuclear weapon within a few years, if not within a year at the current rate. They have been, it's, honest to God, guys, I'm sorry, it's just not that hard to make a nuke. We made lots of them 70 years ago. It's not like lost tech. Uranium's not that hard to come by. You just need a big facility that, you know, you keep safe that can enrich it. And it takes a while to enrich it, but like Iran's a big country. It's not, you know, people don't refrain from making nukes because it's too hard. They refrain from making nukes because there are political consequences to making nukes. And it's very difficult to hide the nuke making process. With modern satellite technology, the facilities that you need to enrich uranium are, you know, the process of making nuclear weapons is one that's relatively easy to identify and trace from a foreign country's perspective via satellite imagery, via spies. So the consequences politically are more the thing that people are concerned about. And Iran is already an enemy to the West, so they don't really care about that. Maybe they just think this is the best chance they can get for a deal. Khamenei, who has the final say on all state matters, also warned Pezeshkian's cabinet, do not trust the enemy. Khamenei, 85, has occasionally urged talks or dismissed them with Washington after then-President Donald Trump unilaterally withdrew the United States from the deal in 2018. Thanks, Donald Trump. Probably something Israel also wanted. Definitely something Israel wanted. If Iran doesn't develop nukes, Netanyahu knows we don't need him anymore. Check out Stuxnet. We have deployed cyber weapons against Iran's nuclear... Oh, no. Yeah, no, we have tried. In direct talks between Iran and U.S. recent years, mediated by Oman and Qatar, two of the U.S.'s Middle East interlocutors when it comes to Iran. The U.S. State Department told the Associated Press, we will judge Iran's leadership by their actions, not their words. Stuxnet was a lot Israel too. Yeah, that's what we've used Israel for. We have long said we ultimately view diplomacy as the best way to achieve an effective, sustainable solution with regard to Iran's nuclear program, it said. However, we are far away from anything like that right now, given Iran's escalations with the board, including its nuclear escalation and its failure to cooperate with the International Atomic Energy Agency, the UN nuclear watchdog. They're not cooperating because we withdrew from the agreement. We withdrew from the agreement. Donald Trump did. We broke the deal. We broke the contract. It wasn't like we failed to renew the contract. He broke the contract. If Iran wants to demonstrate seriousness or a new approach, they should stop nuclear escalations and start meaningfully cooperating with the IAEA. Totally unserious. Since the deal's collapse, Iran has abandoned all limits the deal put in its program. See, look, even this language is bullshit. Since the deal collapsed, the deal didn't collapse. It was established. America broke it. It didn't collapse implies that they were negotiating and things broke down. They had the deal. It was working. Trump pulled us out of it. He broke the deal. Iran hasn't abandoned all limits that the deal put in its program. The deal was broken. Why would they abide by their end of the deal if Donald Trump didn't? Enriches uranium up to 60% purity, near weapons grade level of 90%. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if they were well past 60% at this point. Well past. Surveillance cameras installed by the IAEA have been disrupted, of course. While Iran has barred some of the Vienna-based agency's most experienced inspectors, Iranian officials also increasingly threatened they could pursue atomic weapons. Well, yeah, of course. Why are they using that language here, Vosh? It's not like they're Trump fans. The Associated Press. It is the sacred duty of journalists to, you know, use moderate, passive language to absolve the behavior of fascists as much as possible. They love doing that shit. You wouldn't want to, like, stir controversy by directly blaming people who are at fault for doing things. They are developing them, Bugsy. How will the USA react? I mean, look, we can either accept that Iran is going to have nuclear weapons because Donald Trump pulled us out of the nuclear accords. We can invade them, or we can nuke them. That's it. That's literally it. Those are the three options. Or diplomacy. We can use diplomacy. That's it. That's it. There's literally four. That's it. Deal with it. Diplomacy. Invasion. Nukes. That's it. Would an invasion work? I mean, we could stop the nuclear program. It would be ruinous for America and Iran. It would be like catastrophic to a level that most people forgot wars could be catastrophic. But, you know. What happens if they have nukes? What am I, a fucking mind reader? Fortune teller? I don't think that Iran would be any more irrational with the use of their nuclear weapons than Israel. Israel has been very aggro in threatening nuclear Armageddon. If their existence is ever threatened, see Samson option, see them not releasing their total number of nuclear weapons. You know, and Israel is run by lunatic ethno-nationalist fascists, so it's not like they're to be trusted. I don't think Iran would be any more untrustworthy than them, but that's a pretty low bar. Nobody's threatening the existence of Iran, though. Is that a joke? Would you be rational with nuclear weapons, Vosh? No. Israel is trying to end Iran. So not only does Israel not officially acknowledge its possession of nuclear weapons or list how many it has, which it should, but the Samson option is the LARPy name that Israel has given to their last resort, which is if Israel faces annihilation, they have threatened massive retaliation with nuclear weapons. That's their deterrent strategy. It's literally like, we will bring the temple down and take everyone with us. Does Israel have nukes? Yes, though they won't admit it because they don't play nice on the international stage. The US and the Soviet Union has this too. The difference, of course, being that the United States and the Soviet Union are, like, in some form or another, kind of, let's say, geographically contiguous with a sort of historical backing to their presence. That is to say, we're not constantly fighting border disputes with Mexico, whereas Israel is constantly threatening, attacking, receiving, exchanging missiles, Golan Heights, take that, 7-day war, take this, lose this, you know, and they're an ongoing settler colonial project that actively antagonizes all their neighbors. So why don't they say they have nukes? Because they're evil. Because they're mean, all right? Oh, Russia doesn't threaten to nuke? Russia does threaten to nuke, and as has been established on this channel, I do not like Russia. Anyway, in terms of, like, nuclear escalation, Israel is much more, aggro in that department than Iran is. Though, of course, Iran isn't exactly rationally led, so who knows? Who knows? If Iran gets nukes, it will be Donald Trump's fault. Once negotiations begin, Iran will likely demand more protections regarding a potential U.S. withdrawal from a new deal after the U.S. walked away from the previous deal in 2018. Yeah, it turns out being the global superpower and just randomly breaking deals about nuclear disarmament is actually really, really, really bad for our trustworthiness. Because of concerns about the sustainability of any new deal, Iran is also less likely to offer as many nuclear concessions, like the dismantling of more advanced centrifuges, since Iran would want to be able to spin up its nuclear program as fast as possible in the event of another U.S. exit from the new deal. God damn, man. I'm really curious why they're going for the talks now. I really want to know. I guess we'll see in the coming days, weeks, months, whatever. How does Iran feel about us again? We're the great Satan. Well, that's how the Iranian government feels about us. The Iranian people don't like their government that much. I think a big part of it is making themselves look to the international stage as more sane than Israel. That is very possible. It is possible that in light of Israel delegitimizing themselves further and further in the Arab world, in like the global community, it's possible that Iran is like, oh shit, we could come out of this looking like the adults, you know? Like we could leverage this and end up looking more like the voice for peace. Which is possible. Israel's setting the bar pretty low, so I doubt it has anything to do with the American election, Whimsical. Kamala could do it. She's not Biden. Yeah, I doubt Biden would go for any for this because it would be considered like an anti-Israel move. The economy of Israel is pretty dire right now. Yeah. We have the Hill talking about how Netanyahu is dragging us down a danger. Yeah. It's crazy, man. We're on the dark road. I still do think that at the end of the day, Iran should probably be the regional hegemon. In a better world, man. In a better world. Maybe them getting nukes would facilitate that. I mean, in the Arab world, aren't they? Don't nuts. Go to anywhere in the Middle East and say Iran leads the Arab world, and I hope you're wearing like a iron neck guard. Not this again. Yeah. In fairness, the group Arab is so fucking broad at this point that it kind of doesn't mean anything. Like, in terms of I mean, it's borderline like a continental distinguisher. Like, you might as well be saying African people at that point, you know? Arab stretches all the way around the Mediterranean. I mean, it's like a huge chunk of people that identify as some kind of Arab or another. Everyone's Arab. You're Arab, I'm Arab, why not? Why can't the Iranians be Arab as well? I mean, fucking everyone else is, sure. Ethnic Peronism? Oh, yeah. They don't even speak Arabic. I mean, there are Arab people who are considered Arab because they speak Arabic. There are non-Arabic speaking people who are considered Arab for other reasons. A lot of North Sudanese consider themselves Arab. Yeah, it's a big tent, folks. It's a big tent. Pan-Arabists have a lot of room to work with, you know? Wait, aren't Iranians Arabic? No. But again, what the point that I'm making is that it's like a really broad term. Make the Turks Arabic. Who cares? Serbians are Arabic. Agreed. Are people from the Arabian Peninsula Arabic? No. Common mistake, but never make it in the presence of an Arab. Is mayonnaise in Arabic? There's a Georgia rally going on right now. Iran is sending hundreds of these missiles to Russia. Good for them. Wow, that is really washed out lighting. Holy shit, they're whitewashing her. I can't believe it. They really are preparing for the general election.
Understanding, folks just need a little help from time to time. And it's not about just getting by, it's about getting ahead. $6,000 in the first year of a child's life to help pay for that car seat or the crib or the baby clothes. And unlike Donald Trump, I will always put the middle class and working class families first.
Well, I'm glad she's having fun. But we've passed beyond the point where I'm interested in covering every Kamala Harris speech. Tim Walz I have a bit more patience for, but I'm still not really, like, a fan of Kamala Harris. I just think she's pulled some pretty slick campaign moves. Wow, that is a favorable wave of polling from late yesterday. Look at that. Most from Big Village. Harris +4, Harris +7, Harris +6, +6, +7, +5, +5, +4. All in the general. That's pretty nice. Why is Ipsos here? For the fun of it. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this from the location of the kickoff of Hatsune Miku's recent global tour, you might lose access to Twitter quite soon. Remember that dispute between Elon Musk and a Brazilian judge about their responsibility to block accounts who engage in hate speech that's unlawful in Brazil? Apparently, the deadline is tonight. Like, tonight. Brazil judge blocks accounts of Musk Starlink amid dispute with social media platform Twitter. The threat to take the website down apparently comes down now. Brazil's top court threatens to ban Elon Musk's Twitter unless Musk names legal representative within 24 hours. Basically, they're like, so Twitter got rid of its Brazil offices. It got rid of its liaison with the Brazilian government. So they were basically saying, we don't even respect your lawsuit enough to engage with it. And now they're saying, like, name a legal representative who will defend you in court, or it's done. Yes, and Elon responded to this by posting an AI photo of the judge who's threatening him behind bars. One day, Alexander, this picture of you in prison will be real. Mark my words. So that's cool, you know. Things are going well there. This will really help the situation. Yeah. You know how sometimes people will go on, like, the worst subreddits imaginable and find videos of, like, trashy people or, like, poor people or people of color or whatever yell at police or yell at judges? You know, we're so quick to call things trashy when it's from poor people or people of color or whatever, but this is literally just that on the highest possible stage imaginable, right? Like, you know, Elon Musk is such a petulant, whiny bitch that when confronted with literally just like threat of litigation, a very basic component of running a company of this size. Lashing out at a judge, you know? I drew you as a soy Wojak. Brazil judge blocks Starlink accounts in the country. Yeah. So they changed the title of this article. When I clicked on it, it said Brazil judge to suspend Twitter tonight, Thursday night. They've changed the title now to refer to the Starlink blocking, which I wasn't familiar with. Remember, Elon Musk is willing to censor critics of Erdogan in Turkey and then defend that decision on Twitter by saying, oh, if I didn't do it, Erdogan would have blocked me on Twitter, or would have blocked Twitter in his country. What am I supposed to do about that? But blocking like Nazis and people who conduct hate speech, he won't do that, even if it means all of Brazil gets blocked. This country. Musk complained on Thursday that Moraes is an outright criminal of the worst kind, masquerading as a judge. Starlink said in its Twitter post that Moraes had issued the order in secret and without affording Starlink any of the due process of law guaranteed by the Constitution of Brazil. Earlier this month, Twitter announced it would close operations and fire its staff in Latin America's biggest economy due to what they called censorship orders from Moraes, while keeping its service available for Brazilian users. At the time, Twitter claimed Moraes secretly threatened one of the company's legal representatives in Brazil with arrest if it didn't comply with legal orders to take down some of the content from its platform. In Wednesday's ruling about Twitter, Moraes said the country's law regulating internet issues, companies that do not respect Brazilian litigation or the confidentiality of private info, could have their activities temporarily suspended. It takes work, Lily Krem. God. I can't believe how many back and forths this has had. Earlier this year, Moraes ordered Twitter to block certain accounts implicated in investigations of so-called digital militias accused of spreading distortion and hate during the government of far-right former President Jair Bolsonaro. After Musk challenged that decision and said he would reactivate accounts on Twitter that the judge had ordered blocked, Moraes opened an inquiry into the billionaire in early April. Twitter representatives eventually reversed course and told the Supreme Court the social media giant would obey the legal rulings. In April, however, Moraes asked Twitter why it had allegedly not fully complied with his decisions. In response, lawyers representing Twitter in Brazil told the Supreme Court that operational faults had allowed users who were ordered blocked to stay active on the platform. And then when they continued to press on that, Elon Musk shut down the office and said no. I wonder if they're really going to do it. I mean, if they do it, it's going to be within a few hours, right? And keep in mind, I know people are going to say that this is like anti-free speech, but this is the most clear-cut shit in the world. Brazil has a law that prohibits certain types of hate speech or disinfo. Twitter initially said it would comply with banning people, but then didn't comply. And when pressed on it further, Elon just like withdrew from Brazil. I mean, how can you defend yourself in court if you don't even have a representative to do so? I'm seeing people on Threads saying they lost access to Twitter right now. No kidding. Has it begun? Well, that certainly looks like Portuguese. As in, it looks like Spanish, but kind of weird. Those might be memes. Maybe. You think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and lie? Threads is going to get a huge boost. Also, Brazilians are really funny. I'm going to miss them. Brazilians have spirit, you know? They have energy. I may not be able to understand your weird, not Spanish language. Not that I could understand it if it was Spanish, but, you know. Portuguese is a beautiful language. That's very woke of you, Thana. A lot of smut artists I follow are Brazilian. I mean, I don't want to like further any stereotypes, but I think it's pretty well known, and we can all accept, we're adult enough to accept that Brazilians fuck good, you know? And that translates into the spirit of the country and the spirit of the energy that they bring, you know, out just generally. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that. As long as they don't block VGG in Brazil, okay? We fully comply with Brazil's hate speech laws. Does this mean the accounts will be deleted? No, it just means that you won't be able to access Twitter from a Brazilian IP address. I think, I don't know, net coding stuff is really complicated. I'm not going to pretend that I understand it, but like if your like network infrastructure is set up in the country that you're in, you like plug it into the line and the line goes to like servers that run through infrastructure that's specific to your country, and they just won't accept info to and from Twitter, I think. That's not got to do with coding, lol. Well, me not knowing that it has to do with coding would be knowledge that I don't have. So, shut up. Goodbye, Brazilian Miku. Isn't it fitting? Isn't it fitting this would happen right after Brazilian Miku kicked off a gigantic, like, high-energy art storm? It's like the final hurrah of Brazilians on Twitter. The big send-off, you know? Now everyone will think of them favorably. I really do hope that it happens, though. As sad as it will be to not have Brazilians on Twitter, whose presence I enjoy very much, I think that, like, there needs to be consequences. I am so sick and tired of the European Union threatening Twitter every 5 days for, like, hey, it's illegal to be a neo-Nazi, Elon Musk, and you are a neo-Nazi. Can you stop, please? And then nothing happens, you know? Because they're too pussy to ban Twitter, even though they should. And, like, that would be a compliance with their laws. The European Union is just slow. Yeah, you know why? Because it's led by Germans rather than Brazilians. If the EU was led by Brazilians, I bet they already would have settled this shit, you know? Because they have the fire in their blood, you know? The Germans, the hoity-toity bureaucrats, no, we don't respect them. Gnome people. Belgians, Vosh, so it's even worse. French, Germans. Yeah, all the good Germans are further south. As a German, I agree with you. Yeah, we need to put... The EU can be led by Germans, but it needs to be led by, like, Southern Alp-adjacent German. You know, we need like, the really gay loud ones, basically. Not the Austrians. But I didn't say Austrians. I just mean, you know, mountain lederhosen, you know, Bavarian type. That's more east than south, but you know what I'm talking about. You know the stereotypes. Not Bavarians, anything but. Yeah. West Germany is really left-leaning. Yeah, but they abandoned East Germany, which wasn't very left-leaning of them. Yeah, but nothing ever happens, Skynet. Have you heard about the new leftist party blowing up in East Germany? What, the AfD? I recently started following this TikToker who documents every food recall happening, and the shit is getting really bad. I've heard about this. I don't know any of the specifics, though. I'm seeing a lot of posting about Perdue chicken. Cinnamon recall update. What are you recalling cinnamon for? Why so many recalls? Apple juice recall?
Recall apple juice, y'all. So keep watching to see what brand it is. My name is Stephanie. This is my food recall series because foods are getting recalled every single day, and I'm here to keep you all informed as to what they are so we can protect ourselves and our families. So the Great Value apple juice sold at Walmart stores is voluntarily recalled for over arsenic level. The recall affects Great Value apple juice sold at Walmart stores in a 6-pack with PET plastic bottles.
A little bit of arsenic never hurt anyone. This is pussy shit.
If y'all haven't heard already, they recalled cinnamon not too long ago because of lead contamination.
That's just a metal. It's fine.
So there has now been a recall on raisins. Bro, anything else? Like, because at this point, I feel like air is just the safest thing. Let's get into this recall. This is my food recall series because things are getting recalled literally every single day, and I'm here to keep you all informed as to what they are so that we can protect ourselves and our families. Let's get into it. Sunco and Frenchie issues an allergy alert on undeclared sulfites in golden raisin. It just came out with this information on August 26th.
Please stop. The music is scaring me. Well, it seems there's a lot to talk about. Check your fridge. CDC warns against eating recalled deli meat as deadly listeria outbreak expands. I think like 8 people have died from this already. 9 people now have died. A total of 57 people have been hospitalized in 18 states in connection with the outbreak. You know, I actually just got some deli meat, but I haven't eaten it yet. We're called Boar's Head Deli products. I do really want to eat that meat, though. I don't remember if it's Boar's Head. Documents show reports of insects and mold. That's cool. Reports from the USDA's Food Safety Inspection Service show 84 non-compliances from January 2022 to August 2024, 69 of them since August 2023. They describe insects, alive and dead, in several areas of the Jarrett, Virginia plant at various times, and mold seen on doors, near a hand-washing sink, and on a ceiling at different points. One report from February 2024 described blood in puddles on the floor and a rancid smell in the cooler. Nice. You will eat the bugs. TBT, when Trump privatized meat inspections. Yeah. All of this goes right back to deregulation. The Trump admin just officially made good on its goal to privatize the inspection of the kill line at pork slaughterhouses. The pork industry is now responsible for inspecting itself. Nice. This recall series shit is just uneducated alarmism. Like, recalls matter, but recalls don't mean watch out, the shit will kill you. To an extent, I do agree. I do see a lot of people who talk about it in a way that seems like it's more concerned with, like, alarmist fear-mongering than it is any kind of systemic discussion on why this is happening. But I don't know. I mean, it is an issue, right? It's not... It is worth being concerned about.
So let's talk about the Boar's Head lunch meat recall. This is my food recall series because things are getting recalled every single day.
Also, stuff like this right here. Look in the comment section. It's been non-stop lately. Again, time for our own farms and gardens. Agree. Big red button. No, this is not solved by the extremely inefficient and comparatively unsafe and unsanitary process of micro-farming in your, like, inner city townhouse or whatever. Like, no. Incorrect.
And I want you all to be informed so that you are able to protect yourselves and your family. So let me show you what I found. So as of 8/10, there has been an update to the Boar's Head listeria outbreak in deli meats. The only reason why I'm making a video about this is because a lot of the meats that they had were dated out until August 30th. So I'm just giving you all an update in case you have any of this food in your home. If you haven't heard,
Love
listeria...
these dipshits think they could just pick up on farming like it's an unskilled hobby. Yeah, they're like, well, I had a peanut plant that didn't die, so...
Recently, there has been a recall with a certain chocolate brand due to potential mold growth contamination. Stay tuned to see which one it is. This is my food...
Yeah, stuff like this. I'm just not going to eat anything. Only air is safe. ATP. I'm sorry, I don't know what that acronym means. I apologize for being white and 30. At this point, thank you.
Recall series because things are...
I probably could have figured that out if I took a second to think about it.
There has been a major...
I don't like the, I don't like that kind of fear-mongering. Adenosine triphosphate? Oh, that as well, yeah. You know, it is a real concern. I do think it's worth remembering that at this moment in time, the food we eat on average is far, far healthier in terms of pollutants or toxic chemicals or whatever the fuck else than it has been basically at any point since the Industrial Revolution. I just, again, I'm not saying everything's fine. I'm not doing this like Steven Pinker, the science of optimism bullshit. I'm only saying that I think that sometimes people can have an attitude on these problems where they freak out and they get really like negative about it and really paranoid, and that paranoia ends up having more of a negative effect on their life than the aggregate risk of a real pollutant would have. Stress can kill you, man. And if you're spending your life like in constant terror of a incredibly low chance of something like that happening, you know, like I'm saying, be careful, but don't let it rule your life.
Did y'all know that there is no safe amount of alcohol to consume? Any amount of alcohol is toxic to the body and should be considered as a poison. And let me show you why. This right here just shows the type of...
I think you can have a small amount of alcohol and it's actually good for your cholesterol, like some red wine or whatever.
There has been a recall on Purdue chicken products, and they are common ones that kids eat, so stay tuned to see which ones they are. This is my food recall series because things are being recalled every single day, and I want you all to be informed as to what they are so that you protect yourselves and your children. Purdue Foods has recalled frozen ready-to-eat chicken breast nuggets and tender...
Whoa! Hold your horses. Now we're cutting close to home. What do you mean?
Due to possible foreign matter contamination. Purdue Foods is recalling its frozen ready-to-eat chicken breast nuggets and tender products that may be contaminated with foreign material, specifically metal. And these are all the states that it affects and is the whole U.S. These are a list of the different products that have been possibly contaminated with metal. So if you have any of these in your fridge...
I think the red wine thing was disproven. Can you let me have this, okay? I need a little bit more good cholesterol. I can take like an omega-3 fatty vitamin or whatever. I mean, I don't like wine anyway. Do you think a cup of red wine and like a fruity cocktail are kind of the same in terms of the good cholesterol, the like HCl or whatever?
Fridge or freezer, make sure you should throw them away. And the problem was discovered after the firm received consumer complaints about metal wire embedded in the product.
What?
And notified FSIS of the issue. They are concerned that some people may have these products in their freezers, so consumers who have purchased these products are urged not to consume them.
That's crazy. We've got iron in our blood, you know? Yeah, Tempest. Though I'm trying to make like the dietary adjustments first, because I sometimes forget to take pills. Movie blocks, we just mentioned that like 4 minutes ago. Bring back the jungle. It would be nice if we had functioning, you know, like regulation on the food industry. That'd be pretty cool. I think this would pass the vibe check much better without the creepy music trying to scare. Yeah, I guess so, probably. Yeah. So this all swings back to deregulation, Vosh noted. Well, there are a few things. So one of it's deregulation. Also, our current practice of mass factory farming is unsustainable in the long run because the antibiotics that we have to inject into the cows that we harvest have to get more and more and more strong over time because the bacteria are getting more resistant to the antibiotics. The vast majority of the kind of like superbug that we're building towards, that's the antibiotics that we give to cows, not humans, you know? So we're kind of like, you know, the superbugs will liberate the cows, inshallah. Yeah, it does seem like we're dealing with like an increasing average level of what are effectively pollutants in the cattle that we raise for slaughter because we're trying to protect them from the consequences of how we've been raising them more and more, you know? Yeah, I saw the counter. Factory farming just led to a major bird flu outbreak in cattle. Yeah, it's not good. Is that going to cause another COVID-style pandemic and the bacteria becoming fully immune? Eventually, yeah. Yeah, the way things are going down, yeah, maybe a lot worse. Yeah, it's pretty inevitable actually, unless we change something. Worse? Yeah, of course worse. Well, also we won't be able to vaccinate against it, you know? It's a bacteria that will have been like specifically bred to be immune to antibiotics. So it would be a little rough. It'd be a little rough. No, bacteria isn't contagious in the way a coronavirus is. It would require very close contact with the sick. It depends. It depends. Because depending on how, like, resilient the bacteria ends up being, that shit could just end up everywhere in the damn water, you know? Like, if we ever reach a level of bacteria resilience where it's relatively durable in water and also it can survive the processes that we use to clean or filter, which in some places water filtration involves stuff that would absolutely kill any bacteria, like, you know, heating water, for example. Like if you boil water before drinking it, you are a-okay fine, nothing survives that. But in a lot of cases that doesn't happen. We use like a mixture of physical and chemical cleansing, UV radiation, except tardigrades. Okay, except tardigrade. Okay. I don't want to oversimplify again. I'm not an expert, la-di-da. I'm only saying that, yes, if we don't change something about how we handle our factory farming, we're basically guaranteeing that eventually a super bacteria is going to fuck us up. Yes. I mean, depends on the bacteria, Alicante. Can't vaccinate against everything. It's a mixed bag. While we can eradicate superbugs with like nuclear level antibiotics, the upside is that bacteria is a living organism. Unlike bacteria, that are possible to kill directly with meds. So in an arms race in which the ultimate answer is just burning bodies. Yeah. It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good, is the point. Google bacteriophage. I don't want to. You're not my boss, as we've established. What really scares me is prions. Yeah. You're like unfolded proteins that can make you sick like instantly with no cure and then you die. The cell death thing. And it's been building up more and more in the environment, and it turns out that plants can host them. That's pretty weird. Apparently, the overall accumulation of prions decreases during seasonal thaw and melt and like freeze and thaw and stuff. So, maybe there's a, yeah. Oh yeah, prions straight up turn your regular proteins into themselves on contact. It's basically Ice 9 for biology. You all know Ice 9? From the Kurt Vonnegut book? What is it? Sirens of a Titan? No? Well, the whole book is takes place from the perspective of a journalist or a writer, an artist, I don't remember what. But basically during the Cold War they develop they're doing pure science. They're doing research, they're having fun. They develop Ice 9, which is a kind of ice with a crystal structure that if it makes contact with regular water will instantly turn all of that water into itself. And the problem with that is that Ice 9 has a freezing point below room temperature, meaning that water will no longer freeze. Oh, sorry, not below room temperature. It is a freezing point that's above room temperature. So rather than water freezing at 0 degrees Celsius, water will freeze at around like 30 degrees Celsius, meaning all water on Earth would freeze instantly, including like the water in your body whenever it's pure enough that it would be susceptible to the... Anyway, the world ends, is the point. And all regular water goes away forever. And prions are like that, but for your proteins. Is it a real chemical or a book? It's just a book. But theoretically, it's something that could exist. Different structures of the same molecule can have different properties. Different freezing points, different whatever the fucks, you know? A prion is kind of like that for a very stable misfolded protein. So if you get a prion in you, it locks in with the rest of your proteins, and it makes them all itself. And as you can tell by a prion, not a very functional structure, you know? You see this? You don't want your proteins looking like this. Chronic wasting disease in deer is a prion disease. You want to show chat what fucked prions can do to a creature? Yeah, deer are really susceptible to this. It's pretty wacky. All their proteins go what is known as sicko mode. And it makes them not good. There are some nasty pictures. The videos of deer with CWD are wild. Yeah, they basically act like SCPs. Zombie deer? Yeah, it's zombie deer. Basically. Due to CWD taking 18 to 24 months after initial exposure to onset, most cases of CWD are in adult animals. The disease is progressive and always fatal. The first signs are difficulties in movement, weight loss over time, behavioral changes, including decreased interactions with other animals, listlessness, lowering of the head, tremors, repetitive walking in set patterns, and nervousness, excessive salivation, grinding of the teeth, increased drinking and urination. The increased drinking and salivation may contribute to the spread of the disease. Loss of fear of humans and appearance of confusion are also common. Can it spread to humans? Yeah, prion disease can affect humans. Not the same that affects deer, but the underlying principle can be an issue. And there's increasing prion accumulation in the environment. It's all the same prion. Yeah, but the process by which it binds is different, right? There's something about like susceptibility. Yeah, it's one of the it's the thing people talk about if you do cannibalism. Like if you eat a human brain, you can get yoinked, you know? Trying to find the image that I saw of the increasing dissemination of prions in the environment. Can't find the image that I'm looking for, but that's okay. Maybe we've been on this weird topic for too long anyway. Here, Vosh? Well, it's not an image, but it's something. Map of CWD spread. Oh yeah, that's nasty. The dark gray is known distribution prior to 2000 of chronic wasting disease in free-ranging populations, and the light gray is its propagation in free-ranging populations that is known now. So this is both the spread of the disease and the spread of our knowledge of the disease. Is the light gray? No. This is the light gray that I'm referring to. It's not just here. Yeah, it happened in the UK. The UK was afflicted by an outbreak of bovine spongiform encephalopathy, also known as mad cow disease. The outbreak is believed to originate in the practice of supplementing protein in cattle feed by meat and bone meal, which use the remains of other animals. I tried my best, Benjamin. It was crazy living through this and seeing livestock pyres next to every major motorway. Wait, what? Yeah, they had to kill thousands and thousands of cows. That is so pathologic. Jesus Christ. Note that it's not actually known for sure that the prions are causing it. We know shockingly little about prions. We should move off this topic. I feel like we might be making people depressive. You know, we don't want that. Mad cow disease is our fault. I mean, this is all of our faults, right? Like, literally all of this is caused by animal agriculture, you know? We could easily switch to an economy and a food economy that doesn't have any of this and be better in so many other ways, too. Lol, tell that to the farmers. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Well, Semper Fi, guys. We got some, it sounds like we got some fans and some haters. That's okay. Listen to what I have to say here. President Trump and I are proud to be the most pro-worker Republican ticket in history. And I want to talk about why we're fighting for working people, why we're going to fight for unions and non-union alike.
He's talking to a firefighter union, you know? I'm glad that the people here have the wherewithal to understand that he's lying.
Firefighter.
Tim Walz addressed the same convention a day earlier.
It's people like the folks in this room, firefighters, police officers, construction trades, teachers and nurses and veterans who contributed their contributions to our nations long after they got out of military service. It was you who built the middle class. And we know that when unions are strong, America's strong.
Hey. Well, that's nice. I was kind of hoping to hear applause at the end of that, because I know there was applause at the end of that. Just a nice little juxtaposition. If only. Didn't want to rub salt in the wound. That's what I mean by biased journalism. I'm pretty sure that'd be the case for most people in most countries, Frag00. How's it going? It said you had a good time in the title. Well, it says that I'm hungover, and I still am, hence the pauses. But, you know, sometimes you got to keep it real. Korean incels win, please. I don't even want to do the segment now, because you guys are being unusually annoying. Okay, hold on 1 second, Skynet Zero. You know the rules, and this has been a long time coming. Why are you beginning every message with my name? All right? You know what happens if I feel like I'm being pestered? Apologies, I'll take the mute. I respect it. You understand that you've wronged me. Banned permanently for 0 seconds. God damn, my head hurts. I'll have a good one, Lady of Cats. Ah, man. Coffee can help with headaches. Trust me, I already got my caffeine. Oh, did you guys see this one? This one's a classic. NYU? Yeah, New York University has now included Zionism as a protected class. So speaking ill of Zionism or Zionists is now like it's like being racist. They've included an ideology in the demographic markers. Ain't that anti-free speech? Yes. Yes, it is. That's not going to fuel Nazi conspiracies at all. Yeah, I gotta say, man, in term, it's like with Israel too. When Israel's like, premier strategy of representing Jewish people globally is by screaming from the top of their lungs, "We represent all Jewish people, now watch us massacre a Palestinian family for doing nothing." You know, it doesn't, you're really not helping the cause at all. NYU led by troubling example when the school shared an updated code of student conduct last week. Some examples of activities that would violate the NDAH policy include refusing to work with each other or the application of any type of litmus test for participation in any academic activity based on identity, tropes about protected groups, calling for genocide of an entire group, so on and so forth. Using code words like Zionist does not eliminate the possibility that your speech violates the NDAH policy. For many Jewish people, Zionism is a part of their Jewish identity. Speech and conduct that would violate the NDAH if targeting Jewish or Israeli people can also violate the NDAH if directed towards Zionists. For example, excluding Zionists from an open event, calling for the death of Zionists, applying a no-Zionist litmus test for participation in any NYU activity, using or disseminating tropes, stereotypes, and conspiracies about Zionists, e.g. Zionists control the media, demanding a person who is perceived to be Jewish or Israeli to state a position on Israel or Zionism, minimizing or denying the Holocaust. I love the equation there, excluding Zionists from an open event or denying the Holocaust. Two very ideologically consistent things. Or invoking Holocaust imagery or symbols to harass or discriminate. Nice, nice, nice. I mean, it's complicated because there are anti-Semites who will just say Zionist rather than Jews. That's like a pretty easy dog whistle. But Zionism is also, like, legitimately, colonial ideology. I mean, that's the case for basically everything. You could use any term as a dog whistle for any other thing as long as there's enough cultural weight behind it, right? Expressing views regarding a particular country's policies or practices does not violate university policy, but if conduct that otherwise appears to be based on views about a country's policies or practices is targeted at or infused with discriminatory comments, such as in the examples above, that would implicate the NDAH. Nice. Incoherent? Well, the goal is to use language that's broad enough so that it looks like you're implicating people who are using Zionist as a dog whistle to be anti-Semitic, but in reality, you're, skewing the conversation such that any criticism of Zionism is framed as anti-Semitism, and they're blurring together the dog whistles with the actual critique of the ideology, The biggest blocks of Jews against Israel are in New York City. These pieces of shit are only coping that New York City Jewish communities pro-Israel. Well, I mean, obviously, the people making the decisions at NYU are mostly, like, incredibly wealthy, and incredibly wealthy people tend to be right-wing. It's just that simple. Zionism is a right-wing ideology. There are liberals who have been pulled towards it, sure, but there's a reason why, Kamala Harris on the campaign trail is going, we need an end to the persecution of Palestinian, or like, the violence in Gaza or whatever the fuck. And Donald Trump's side is actually what Israel is doing is based, and we need to give them more weapons so they can do more of it faster. And also anyone who opposes me as a Palestinian, parentheses slur. It is a right-wing ideology, as demonstrated, if nothing else, by the fact that the right wing supports it. Far more so than the left wing. And the left wing still supports it a decent amount. Yeah, it is like the anti-BDS laws, where they're like, yeah, this is definitely not a violation of the First Amendment, but also you will face a bunch of, blacklisting and persecutory treatment if you do anything that economically harms Israel. Israel is also run by right-wing nut jobs. That is true. That's the only mention of it in the entire thing. I do like the specific paragraph for this subject and not for any of the other, not for any of the, like, it's so obvious why they included this, you know? And I still have yet to see any real evidence of anti-Semitism or persecution towards Jewish people being anywhere near as notable as of a problem in like uptick as is constantly claimed by media. In universities, like, I've seen a fuck ton of normalized discrimination against Palestinian people, up to and including the fucking, like, pro-Palestinian encampments being raided by police and that being celebrated and encouraged by the administration. Anti-Semitism is, of course, an issue in universities and elsewhere, but the way the media talked about it, especially during the height of the student protests, was that it was like this massive, like, uptick, like they're all fearing for their lives. And what evidence was provided for this? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right-wing sensationalism. That's it. Oh, anti-Semitism is definitely still a thing, Scheherazadian. But any conversation about anti-Semitism has to begin with the right, not the left. I'm sorry. Are there anti-Semites on the left? Sure. Are there, like, weird pan-Arabist, you know, like, anti-Semitic types who are, like, masquerade as leftists because they're critical of Israel? Yes, those are real things. But holy shit, look at the perspective here, man. Though, to be fair, Kanye really brought that shit into the mainstream. Yeah, right when he was having his right-wing arc. I mean, he still is, I guess, so. Of course, common science. And also, by the way, if something is part of your religion, that doesn't make it not a political ideology. That line, that bullshit line, has been used by Republicans to excuse bigotry along, like, Christian sentiment for a long time. The idea that if, you know, if a marriage practitioner or a bureaucrat, through their own sincere religious beliefs, did not believe in prescribing birth control or abortion pills or signing off on a gay marriage certificate or whatever else, then, oh, it's okay. It's not a political belief. It's their religious belief. No, fuck you. I don't believe in that. That's coward language. Well, it's just I don't know, it's a normalization of the idea that it's possible to have a religious or cultural belief that isn't political. Just because you don't think it's political doesn't mean it's not political. It's all political. There's no getting around it, you know? Always has been, Vord. That is also not apolitical organophobia, but I think you know that. Kanye reveals text with Playboy Cardi. Fucking what? I don't know if this is real. I also don't really care. It's probably a meme. The fuck? It's almost certainly a meme. Does Vosh even know who Cardi is? I mean, I've seen her name used. I don't know. I really do wish that more, I don't know, more media attention was drawn to the direct one-to-one relationship. Is Carti, not Cardi, her Lamau? Is Playboy Carti a boy? Not Cardi B? For now, he's a man. He's so white. What does this have to do with me? Cardi's a boy's name. Wait, a girl's name. Look, I don't see gender, okay? He's a rapper. I know that. Playboy Cardi and Cardi B are different people. I think that's confusing for me, and I think they should stop. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I do wish that more people gave more attention to the like direct one-to-one relationship between Kanye West having a mental breakdown, becoming a neo-Nazi, and being a Trump supporter. I know that we talk about it, but I just feel like, I don't know, one of the most celebrated and respected musicians in history, as I understand. I mean, he's a big deal at the very least, going like a direct, straight line path from mentally ill Trump supporter, neo-Nazi. Like, I feel like it's alarmingly clear, and I don't know. It's genuinely helpful to be able to point to him as an example. Yeah. What is Vash's email, please? Why do you want my email so bad? Totosaurus, why do you want my email so bad? Why do you keep asking about my email? Finding my email on your own is like the first gatekeep. That's why when you hit exclamation point email, it just says, please stop emailing me, which is my sincerely held position. It's my sincerely held religious belief on the matter of emailing me. Now no answer. It's complicated. I wrote a long email to support. Oh, you're not selling me on this being sent to me. Is this something that needs to be sent to me? Is it like mortally important? Like, I think so, but it's up to you. You're not encouraging confidence at all, Totosaurus. It's a business email. It's big context to Mexican politics. You got to find it on your own. Also, fair warning, you can send me a bunch of info, but I just added to a big folder entitled Read Later, because if you send me an email that just gives me an info dump, what do I just take that at your word? You know what I mean? Like, people send me, people don't understand, like, they send me an email with a lot of info, and sometimes it's like a link, and they're like, hey, you should look at this, and that's fine, because it's like a link to a news site or whatever. But when they're just telling me stuff, what do I just take that at their word? And then later I repeat the information confidently on stream, and someone's like, that's not true. And I'm like, oh, well, a random guy emailed me. It has lots of receipts and videos. I put effort into it. Oh, so you're giving me a lot of homework then, Totosaurus. I see. You could do a segment. I don't take segments from emails. This is what I mean. What's the subject on? You mentioned something earlier. Yeah, I didn't say delete the email. There could be useful info in there. Here. Why are Mexican judges striking over AMLO's proposed judicial reforms? So the reason why I probably wouldn't make a segment over something like this, and I assume this is what you're referring to. Bosch seems to believe the Mexican party Morena is leftist and I disapprove it. Oh, so you're arguing with me. Oh, I see. You want me to do a segment on how I was wrong? My position wasn't that Morena is leftist. It's that all the people who were attacking her had like insane non-arguments. Parasocial. It's not parasocial entitlement. The judicial reform is just a part of it. I mean, I probably wouldn't do a segment on it because I don't know why anyone would care about a segment where I say, like, is Mexico's newest president not as left-leaning as I initially claimed it was after arguing with chat? But if you want to correct misinformation on my part, then feel free to send it. Like, that's good. I want to be right, you know? I just always have to be wary about people sending me stuff. Wait, hold on. What were you saying back in June? She's a puppet of AMLO. I agree, puppet. Her language during the campaign was sucking up AMLO. She's corrupt. Morena is like a mafia. AMLO has absolute control. Her campaign is no criticism of AMLO or Morena. Morena cut a lot of social program. So you also can't cite anything specifically bad that she did. It's just like she's associated with, yeah, I have proof in the email. Proof of what? I cited all that in the damn email. Okay. My problem wasn't that I think that this is invalid, necessarily. The problem that I have is that it seemed like I was just talking about her victory and people in chat were getting really upset about it and I didn't know why. And they were saying like, oh, she's terrible, she's bad. And I asked, well, what did she do that's bad? And they're like, okay, she didn't do anything bad, but she's like, you know, in the pocket of bad people. And respectfully, from my position, like, it's Mexico, so my assumption is that it's impossible to get anywhere in politics without being in the pocket of bad people. Like, you don't have the most corruption-free democracy, you know, so like, that wasn't like, that idea isn't too surprising to me. Yeah, I was upset for good reason. It's all in the email. Okay. There. If I don't respond, know that I at least read it. I don't even know what position I'm defending. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't go into that segment being super sold on the new presidency of Mexico. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, it's nice that she won as opposed to the worse options. And then people got really upset with me. It just kind of reminded me how if America was a foreign country and I was like, oh, I'm glad Kamala Harris won over Donald Trump. And then a bunch of people would be like, okay, well, did you know that Kamala Harris was part of the presidential administration that oversaw the genocide of Gaza? And I'd be like, I did know that actually, but yeah, no, that's bad. I agree. I mean, Donald Trump was even more militantly bad on it, so I guess it's still preferable that she won. But then a lot of people get mad at me more. I don't know. But yeah, there's the email, so yeah. I'll look at it. They have good intentions, at least. I like being educated, you know? I like learning new things. It's just sometimes... sometimes it's just like a whole lot of take me at my word, and I've got shit to do, man. By which I mean I have video games that I want to play. Yeah, I don't think that chatter's actually bad faith. No. I wasn't accusing them of being bad faith. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being passionate, even if it's annoying to me either. There are levels of if the annoying is being motivated by parasociality, that annoys me. If the annoying is being motivated by just like sincerely caring about an issue and wanting to share their thoughts on it, okay, I respect that. How can I not respect that moxie? Me doing that in Destiny's chat's the only reason I have a channel today, you know? It'd be hypocritical of me to pull the ladder up from under me and go like, oh, someone with a really strong opinion is like really trying to share it with me. Oh, I hate that. I get that. I mean, obviously, I don't want to read emails I don't want to read, but at the same time, you know, if I'm incorrect about something, I welcome the opportunity to be corrected, even if I'm a little bit of a, you know, grumpy asshole about it sometimes. Of course, sometimes people in chat are patronizing for no reason, like the ultra-processed foods thing. Man, I got multiple emails from people who were like, hey, I'm a nutritionist or I'm like a food scientist or whatever, and you were right. That term is so vague, and it's being weaponized by the meat industry to say like, you know what is good for you? Lots of fatty meats. You know what's not good for you? Vegan meat, because it's ultra-processed, because it takes a lot of like effort to make or whatever. It's like, okay, I can see how you could weaponize that. There's nothing wrong with the food being heavily processed. It's just the type of things they tend to put into it. And if most food is ultra-processed anyway, you're not really getting much information from the distinction. Oh my God, are we doing this again? I'm right! And you can't take that away from me. Never, ever, never. Remember the, like, unprocessed food is grain, processed food is wheat, ultra-processed food is bread thing? Remember that? That chart was insane. That was from Harvard Medical, or Harvard Science, or whatever. That was crazy. Have you talked about the seed oil conspiracy? I know that there are a bunch of guys with thick necks who are like, yeah, the previous battle was soy, but now that's old hat, so now it's seed oil or whatever. It's so stupid, dude. MSG was the original thing people complained about. Yeah. Unfuckable failures of men love to blame the food they've been eating for their unfuckability, when in reality it's just that they suck, you know? It's so easy to convince a bunch of dudes who have no friends online, like, yeah, everything will be better if you just avoid seed oil, or you avoid soy, and then, like, nothing changes, obviously, because it's all made up by grifters who want to sell their, you know, their like nutrition and fitness plan packages for only $60 a month, where you can join and like fix your own life. Yeah, Benjamin. Astrology for meatheads? Yeah. Oh. Second clip from Harris interview just dropped. Why do I feel so tired today? It's got to just be the poor quality sleep. It's got to be the poor quality sleep. Have you seen Kamala say she's going to appoint a Republican in her cabinet? Yes. Oh, wow, what a coincidence. That's the subject of this.
You had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention. Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone
yes,
in mind?
I would. No one in particular in mind. We got 68 days to go with this election, so I'm not putting the cart before the horse. But I would. I think it's really important. I have spent my career inviting.
Like I said, I don't think that this is particularly surprising, because for one, they're running on a unity ticket, and for two, it's kind of it's strategically and electorally beneficial for Kamala Harris to make it clear that she's not anti-Republican, she's anti-Trump. I think this is bad. So let's talk two different lines here. One is the campaign strategy, and the other is like my position, right? The campaign strategy is that if you want to pick up right-leaning votes, you want to scoop up people who are dissatisfied by Trump, and an effective way of doing that would be criticizing Donald Trump, but making it clear that you have like a big tent to other Republicans. Having a rhino in your cabinet, you know, like having, I don't know, someone you know, someone somewhere across the line in your presidential cabinet be like a Mitt Romney type, right? A Kissinger type could be beneficial just because it gives the aesthetic of her being like, oh yeah, you know, I'm not even like anti-Republican if we get back to the foundational principles of the party. I'm anti-Trump because he's crazy. Now, that might be good for the campaign. Obviously, the rot of the MAGA movement goes well beyond Trump at this point. You know, Trump is just a figurehead through which a bunch of corporatist and fascist politicians and organizations are attempting to enact their agenda, you know. So obviously, like, I don't like the laundering of the Republican Party broadly. The idea that Donald Trump did not spoil the whole bunch. She did say would appoint, not will appoint. So she did, right? Did I mishear that?
You had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention. Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone in mind?
Would you? Yeah, no, she says what? See, okay. The question was will, she said would. Okay, sorry, wait, hold on. I feel like I talk over it and then I have a hard time.
I would.
Anyone in mind? Republican to your cabinet? You appoint a Republican to your cabinet at the convention. Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Will you? Yes, I would. That's interesting. Okay, so we have to assume here that her language is deliberate, right? It would be kind of insane if she said, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, yes, I would is like the correct answer. Yes, I would. I mean, Jesus, shit, I think I would give that answer. Like, what? Because can you imagine, like, you'd be losing favorability for no reason if you were like, no, I wouldn't under any circumstances, right? That would just be, like, you want to hedge your bets at the very, it's the correct answer, yeah. What if she said she might? Well, saying she might and saying she would are kind of the same thing. Just would sounds better than might because it sounds like you're less on the fence. If she said she will, then my initial explanation for her decision-making, that was what I heard. I thought she said will at first, but then I saw someone in chat say she said would because the interviewer asked will and then she said would. Whatever. I don't think there's much wrong with it. I don't think there's anything to get outraged about this over, you know?
Anyone
yes,
in mind?
I would. No one in particular in mind. We got 68 days to go with this election, so I'm not putting the cart before the horse. But I would. I think it's really important. I have spent my career inviting diversity of opinion. I think it's important to have people at the table when some of the most important decisions are being made that have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
Let me parse that language real carefully.
That have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
Okay, yeah. Now that was a dumb statement. I think it's still in the same ballpark of like hedging the bets. I don't think there's much like especially noteworthy here. I think that it could actually be pretty powerful electorally if you had a proposed cabinet member who was a never Trump Republican. Again, I'm not defending this morally. I'm only talking about like what would be good for the campaign trail, because then you would be giving that cabinet member, that future cabinet member, plenty of opportunities to say, you know, yeah, I lost faith in the Republican Party after Donald Trump took over, or, you know, Trump has led the Republican Party astray. It would give them opportunities to be another wedge towards people closer in the center. Has that ever worked, though? Well, I don't think that particular strategy has been tried, but it's something that could be done. As for how much it would work, I don't really know, but, you know, it would be possible to find a Republican cabinet member who wouldn't be much worse on the issues than a, like, center lib pick. No. I agree 100%, Andy. Swaying uncommitted or alienated voters is much more effective than swaying, like, moderates or right-leaning people. I just think that I could see how it could play out, but in the context of this specific interview, I don't think she said anything weird. I think she kind of answered the way you have to, you know? She didn't say, yes, I think Republicans should lead my presidential administration. And she didn't say, no, I flatly reject that, because if she did, that would it would be like based and red pilled from a principled standpoint, but I think it would just be like a net loss electorally, because you'd be opening yourself up to attacks. It'd be polarizing in a way she wouldn't benefit from. I worry this is demotivating the base. Maybe if people are dumb, which I guess they are, so yeah. She appoints MTG as head of the Department of Education. Yeah, you know what? Go for the dark horse pick. You know, give them something they're not going to expect. They're expecting like a Mitt Romney type. You know, find some like nothing Republican and give them the Department of Agriculture or something. No. Okay, we're getting MTG. We're throwing her ass right to the top of the DOE. Kamala's doing a bad job since the convention of keeping energy up and increasing. It has been quiet since the convention, but it's been a short enough length of time that I'm willing to wait it out another week and see if they're cooking something fierce. I think that Tim Walz has been doing well. You know, he has limited reach considering he's the VP pick rather than the presidential candidate himself. You know, he seems to be doing well with his engagements. And I think like right now we're kind of like waiting it out until the debate, right? I mean, we'll see if Trump ends up actually backing out of it, but it's the 10th, and that is like gonna be the next big cornerstone. A little bit of limbo. Maybe I can finally get in Elden Ring. Tim Walz is doing smart campaign engagement, like appearing on subway takes. Yeah, we saw this earlier, but 100%. This is exactly the kind of new media engagement that the Democrats have to get better about. And they have gotten better. I mean, certainly the Kamala Harris campaign has done much better with it than Joe Biden did. And Tim Walz is a knockout pick for this kind of thing, in large part because he's, you know, like a normal guy. He's not some stiff-backed freak who can't engage in regular discourse. He's unstoppable. He's not a lizard like JD Vance. So yeah. Exactly, Gwendolyn. Why didn't Trump just mask off, pick Peter Thiel as his VP? Peter Thiel is, believe it or not, more of a lizard than J.D. Vance ever could be. J.D. Vance looks like the pinnacle of normalcy compared to Peter Thiel. Have you seen Peter Thiel speak publicly? They ain't like us. The motherfucker puppeting that skin suit, not doing a good job. I don't know what you're referring to, Nuts. I don't agree with the logic that moderates and right-leaning people can only be appealed to by being right-wing. Average voters have incoherent ideology. No. I agree. I think you should always push left on the issues. I can see some instances where a strategic inclusion of a Republican in the cabinet or some strategic use of bipartisan language can be effective in serving as a reminder that your difference, your opposition to the Republicans is not an essential one because of their identity, but rather one based on policy. Because if you indicate you're willing to work with Republicans as long as their policy is good, you're kind of saying like, hey, the divide isn't as big as you think. The gap isn't as large as you think, you know? Center rhetoric with left policy as a winning campaign. I think it's center delivery with left rhetoric and left policy, right? So you want to take a left-leaning policy group and you want to refer to it and frame it as left-leaning, but you present it as like good old-fashioned normal American salt of the earth stuff. You know what I mean? You don't want to phrase any kind of big left policy as some crazy new agenda or whatever. You know, everything needs to be named like the American Revival Act or whatever. You need to lean into it. Yeah, it's super capitalism. Likely so, Tempest, yeah. What do you mean by framing versus rhetoric? It's a blurry distinction, but what I mean is like I think that Tim Walz does a good job of this. Tim Walz talks about stuff like free school lunches, which is a left-leaning policy, and he is referring to it as such, but he talks about it like it's just good neighborliness. Now, it is good neighborliness to support stuff like that, but it's also like obviously objectively left-leaning policy, right? So it's like maybe it's a distinction without a difference, you know? No, I don't want a grifter at all, DCL Zexon. I don't believe in grifting for the left. I think that dishonesty is a net negative in practice. I think that in thought experiments, you can easily arrive at conclusions where a politician lying to serve your political interests is good, but only in thought experiments. Because in reality, where politics is this like really complicated, spread out, diffused game where thousands and thousands of people with their own agendas and ideologies are competing for power and trying to like stay relevant in their own district and doing media bits and what have you and making mistakes and fucking up sometimes, having people who lie throws like a massive wrench in the entire system. Even if like in a vacuum, it's like if a leftist political candidate could lie about their policy and the outcome would be the policy gets passed and helps people, would that be good? And like in a vacuum, sure, because you're failing to consider the outside variables. But what about the long-term consequences of only getting something like that done through dishonesty? It's just, you know, it's not. I have Kanye. I can't handle that right now. I can't do that right now. It's too much. So consequentialism doesn't always work? No, I'm describing the consequential harm in the long run. I'm saying like that's not act versus rule utilitarianism or non-consequentialist thinking. I'm saying consequentially there is harm to enabling or supporting the idea of a politician lying, even if the immediate outcomes of that are good. Or potentially good, because you can't actually see the future. I don't like grifters. I mean, in a way, this is kind of what ended up happening in the Soviet Union. Much of the Soviet Union's ideological downfall, the revisionist, rebranding of socialism, the very rapid degradation of political and social rights, a lot of this was a series of compromises where the immediate stability of the Soviet Union was preserved over like long-term ideological consistency and, you know, political purity. You say, oh, these are only temporary measures. In the future, we'll revoke them. We'll give you your freedoms back. But that doesn't happen. I mean, Not in the way you want it to, at least. All right. That's your timeout for the day, Kenneth. Oh, I mean, intelligent donkey. I don't think Kamala said much anything. Case in point, Fetterman grifted to the left until it no longer served him. Yeah, you can't really trust the stability or like the reliability of people like that anyway. Why are there so many things to cover? Too many things. I don't know if Fetterman was lying outright. Well, you have to factor in the brain damage. All right, folks. I think it's it's a little low energy today, which is fine. I don't mind the calm streams. I can definitely feel the sort of like the little nugget of alcohol sloshing in my brain and impairing my thoughts. But that'll be gone tomorrow. Nonetheless, I'll stream tomorrow and I'll read donations then. We're 43 minutes over, which isn't even 43 minutes over because I started stream late, but I only started stream late because I literally couldn't get out of bed earlier than I did. So like it was that or no stream at all. So, basically what I'm saying is I'm the hardest worker of all time. And you guys don't appreciate me for that, I will read the donations tomorrow. I'm very sorry for the delay, but that's what worker rights look like. I'm a living example of what working liberation looks like, in the sense that I technically work when I'm doing this, and I'm beholden to no one. Under socialism, everyone, from the guy working behind the desk at the gas station, to bank tellers, all of them would act exactly like me. We're working towards a world with no expectations of professionalism. Isn't it wonderful? I'm going to send you over to... I see Dylan Burns TV is streaming with a stream titled Vosh versus Debate. It's discourse! Oh, you can't even have opinions without it being discourse. I'm not rewarding this dreck. Who else is streaming? Actually, that's the only politically aligned stream I see right now. All right, I guess I am rewarding this dreck. Well, good luck, folks. I love you all very much. Jordan Peterson live. Oh, that's a preferable option, maybe. No, I'll send you over to Dylan. It's been a while since I've hosted Dylan anyway. Hope he's doing well. I love you all very much. Please take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll read the donations tomorrow. What about checking YouTube? I did check YouTube. They really don't any. League streamers? I don't think so. I don't think so. Clean your room, slacker. We could all benefit from that. Take care.